What up? What up? What up, world? We are back. I'm Anthony, aka Rasta. This is Get Right Fantasy Network, and I'm here with my boy Frank. How's it going, Frank? What up, man?
What's up, peoples?
It is, man. Week 11. We're already.
Yeah, it's going by fast. It seems like
it's fast, man. Make sure you guys are enjoying it.
It's taking forever to get here, and now it's just like playoffs are almost here.
Yeah, we got what, 3 games left, 12, 13, and 14, and then it's playoff time, man. There's only 3 more weeks of fantasy football regular season left, and most people's trade deadlines are done, so this is going to be a very important episode. You know, how to get your lineups right, you know, heading into the playoffs. Take a look at the guys that you can possibly pick up off the waiver. We'll recap, of course, you know, what happened. We'll talk about what all went on Sunday. Give out our game balls like we've been doing these last couple weeks. That's a lot of fun. And, of course, taking the questions from you, from the peoples out there. Of course, we'll get into the, you know, injury news and notes and all that good stuff as we go along. So just letting you guys know, make sure you drop those questions there in the chat. Got a couple folks in here. We got shout out to Jonathan saying, what up, what up? He's hitting a winning streak and looking good. So that's what you want to do. Some say this is the time to kind of hit that streak. You want to, you know, get that momentum going into the playoffs. Maybe some of those teams that started off hot, you know, are starting to kind of taper down a bit. So this is the time to kind of take advantage of that. And we'll see how it goes, man. So going into week 11 or going into week 12, there is no buys. We have a full slate of games. So 16 games will be on the docket. 3 of those will be happening this Thursday. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there, Thanksgiving week. So make sure you guys enjoy that. And so without any further ado, man, let's kind of get into it. Well, I guess we have to take care of some housekeeping, man. Underdog Fantasy.
I was about to say that was a little quick.
I was going to say that was probably the quickest intro ever. But got to give a big shout out to underdogfantasy.com, as you guys see up here in the corner. Make sure you guys go check them out, man. When you do, use that promo code GetRight. They will make a 100% deposit match up to $100. So it'll give you $200 to start out with. You can get in their weekly best ball drafts just for the week. They also, boom, look at that. Promo code GetRight. No space in there, but it's all good. Still use it. It'll work out. Get in those pick'ems, man. They have their over-unders, the rivalry picks. You can, you know, pick between who's going to score the most touchdowns, all-purpose yards. It's a lot of fun. Shout out to Tycoon. I think he's hit his a couple tickets these last couple weeks, so he's doing good. So shout out to our own fantasy Tycoon out there, and you can win, you know, up to 20 times your money. So go check them out. Again, use that promo code GetRight. underdogfantasy.com. Also, make sure you get in that description. In our link down there, you'll see where you can join our private sleeper community. So if you happen to not be catching this live and you have some questions that ask us, go join the community, start a thread, ask your question there. You can upload screenshots of your team, of your league. We can help you with, you know, trade negotiations, you know, how to just get your lineups right, you know, any type of feedback. There's a lot of us in there that will help you with that all day and night. So make sure you guys get in there, check it out in that description. You'll also see our other channels there as well too, our partner channels. We have the Checkdown Podcast, we have WAGMI Fantasy, and we have the Frontline Fantasy Podcast. So all those guys are in there. So make sure you check them out, throw them a subscribe as well too. So Jonathan here is saying he's kind of confused how he played Boyd over Palmer, Keenan, Sutton, A-Rob, and Gabe Davis, and he did the worst, and he did worse than all of them. But he still won. So way to take it home. Yeah, I kind of had a dud with Boyd as well too, but Pickens picked up the slack. I guess no pun intended. So helped bring me home the W this week. Could have had another big game or another touchdown that he dropped, 49 yarder, which would have been nice. And then we all saw when he missed them, but it would have got called back on a holding call. So he had a potential of a huge game. So make sure you keep your eyes on Pickens if he happens to be out there. Maybe you can check the roster percentages on that, Frank, about of George Pickens. I'm pretty sure he's over our 65 to 70% threshold that we try to set. But he's asking, I need some advice on what to do with Najee. I'm officially lost on what to do with them, and so we're definitely going to get into that here when we start giving out our game balls for winners and losers and things like that. So stay tuned, and we'll hopefully let you know what you could do with Najee. I would have just told you not to draft him in the first place, and then you wouldn't be in this situation if you were with us, Jonathan. For our off season and Friday night mocks, as you see down there. So we'll get into that. So, of course, as you guys see, I'm repping the 49ers hat here. So I think that's probably a good place to start more than any. My Niners came out and kind of laid the smacketh down.
Really quick, it's no surprise on George Pickens, though, because on Sleeper, he's 99% owned. Yeah, Yahoo 65 and ESPN 62. So he's widely owned, not close to the threshold people should know or even be starting with this guy. He's on Sleeper 61% started.
Yeah. So obviously Sleeper folks on here, they know what's going on. Yahoo, you might have Yahoo, you might have a chance. So just at least check your wire, make sure he's out there. He needs to be on your team. So absolutely to see how it gets going. Deontay Johnson's almost kind of droppable at this point. I don't know what his final stats were. I'm sure I can look him up here. But at one point I saw he had like 4 catches for 21 yards. Like 4 catches for 21 yards. That's just absurd. I mean, what's he doing? Running like -2 yard routes? I mean, it's just incredible. So that's not going to get you points. But yeah, so back to my Niners, man. The spotlight of the evening, a 38-10 smackdown on the Arizona Cardinals, who've had our number. Granted, Arizona was banged up. No Kyler Murray, of course. And
I got to tell you, that's not really much of a smackdown.
I mean, yeah,
10 points, and they almost had another touchdown right there at the end. So I was like,
that was all garbage time. It was all good. But your team had a nice outing this week, man.
That's a smackdown.
40-3, man. So against those Vikings, so Cowboys laid it down on them there.
They were 8-1 Vikings, looking good. People were thinking, okay, these guys were actually the underdog at their own home stadium, which was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Although they had a better record,
Vegas knew what was going on.
But they knew it was coming after we got robbed over there in Green Bay.
So, hey, things happen, man. It's the NFL. It's totally wide open, man. There's so many teams. I mean, they all have their flaws, it seems like. I mean, even the Bills look human nowadays. Kansas City's making a push. My Niners are making a push. Obviously, Eagles look good, but then they got taken down. Almost lost, to the Colts after getting, beat by Heineke and the Commanders. So it's just football's all over the place right now. You got to love it. So these next couple weeks are going to be interesting, not only in real football, but for our fantasy seasons as well. So we got a question here before we get into our winners and losers and start giving out some game balls. So I'll give you some time to think about that. But we got our boy Sufyan Malik in here. What's up, man? Always love saying that name. He says, "Hey guys, how are you? I'm doing well. How you doing, Frank?"
I'm doing great.
He's doing great. Well and great.
No, I'm not. All right. I'm sick, man. Honestly.
Oh, he's sick. I'm excited to even just be here. Yeah. I was sick all last week. I couldn't get out of bed. That's why you guys didn't see us. We didn't have a Friday show. So we appreciate you guys sticking it out. But we're here with you here on Monday. Had to get in front of the camera and get all this out off my chest.
I was just like, no, we can't do 2 weeks or something or whatever. I was like, I'll suck it up tonight.
Got to get it done. I appreciate you.
And I'm still working on getting some stuff in. That's why I'm not looking at the camera. So sorry about that.
No, you're good. I'll take care of Sufyan right here. You can listen. He says, I got a trade sent to me. So, there's some trade, deadlines that are still out there. Maybe if they got extended a week, it's all just different, on how people think about the trade deadline. I don't think it's that big of a deal one way or another. But he said he had a trade sent to me. The guy wants Mixon, I'm pretty much sell Mixon already, so let's see what we'll get for him. So he's going to get Mixon and Fields for Barkley. He says he has Brady as his QB2. He's second in his league with his RB2 and 3 Jones and ETN. So, me personally, I'll go ahead and answer this one first. I personally don't like Mixon's role right now. Obviously, Fields hurt. We're going to get into that here soon. I guess we can now. Fields obviously dealing with the dealing with the shoulder issue. First, they're saying, "Oh, it was dislocated, possible sprain," and then Schefter came out and said, "No, it's not. It's not a dislocation. That was like a false report." It's all over the place.
Yeah,
I've heard
I read the
everything
opposite. That it was a dislocation, and they were giving him props for playing with the injury and finishing out the game and yada yada yada. But I know he's getting an MRI done and things like that, so it's just basically waiting. I don't think it's a season-ending injury for sure.
Yeah, so it's again they just a few hours later they say all that, so it's just all over the place. But the biggest thing is they're saying Eberflus even said at one point he's not ruling out it even being season ending. So we're literally hearing anything from day to day to potentially season ending with Fields. To me, it's all over the place. If you want to take that risk, you can.
He's gonna be fine. He just got a really bad stinger.
The problem is though, since he's a running quarterback, even though it's not his throwing arm, he's going to be taking hits. So, teams are going to try to punish him as a runner. So my whole thing is, are they really going to run him at his full potential? If that happens. So, you don't know. So I don't know. But what do you think? My whole thing is too with Barkley is they're not looking good. They lost another lineman or two, I believe, this Sunday. Obviously losing all their receivers. They're down to like Galladay and Darius Slayton, I believe, and some other guy that I don't even know.
They're in for a shellacking by the Cowboys. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, with the Cowboys coming up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what are your thoughts, on Barkley right now with that? I mean, do you think Barkley has some potential rest of the season here over Mixon? I mean, you asked me a couple weeks ago, I'd say do this trade in a heartbeat, but right now, I mean, you're kind of splitting hairs.
That's pretty rough because I mean, Barkley has been like the number one this year, right? I mean, let's face it, right? Like he's getting the yardage,
like almost RB1.
Yeah, literally,
a long time.
And I mean, not to knock Mixon, he's not far behind, but I mean, at this point, I'd probably just take Mixon over him because of the team's injuries. Like you're saying, they just lost 2 offensive linemen. That's very important for the blocking and everything else for a running back. And they already didn't have a passing game, and it's not getting any better. So I don't know. I'd probably do it. I'd probably take Mixon.
So you're saying stick with Mixon and Fields. For me, it's tough. You got Mixon dealing with the concussion. Most likely, in the past we've seen, of course, people usually get cleared by the next game. Weird with the way they're going with concussions this year. I was surprised Stafford actually. Yeah, I'm surprised Stafford actually played. And then of course he goes out after getting hit, not even that hard. And he's out, but he doesn't officially have a concussion yet. He's still being evaluated to be in the protocol.
They don't want to call it that anymore because I mean, you see what happened with Tua. Tua just went in and went right back out again. So they should have kept him out that extra game to let him clear his head properly. And I think that's what happened to Matthew Stafford. He was still a little, not all there yet, and he gets another whack, and now he's out for real.
Yeah. So personally, to me, I prefer to just stick with Barkley and Brady, just for myself, just because again, if Mixon doesn't play this week, you're losing a game. So for me, Barkley does have Cowboys coming up, which should be tough, but you're hoping he has a nice floor with the passing game work that he's going to get. Is a true workhorse over there. You don't have to worry about a split. The only time Mixon didn't really split or not play on third downs was the week he had those 5 touchdowns, which, as you guys know, I was saying so high.
He's gonna suck this next week, so I think that you're getting a wash on both of them. Because if Mixon's out for a concussion, Barkley's gonna be out just because they're not gonna do shit.
Yeah. And then you get the Commanders coming up after that. Week 13, week 14 is the Eagles.
And that Washington defense is coming up. Yep. They're getting better, and Chase Young should be back over there. So they're gonna get even tougher.
Right, and then he gets him again week 14 after the Philly D, who just tried to shore up their run defense a little bit with their new addition, Sue.
You convincing me mixing more and more. Seriously.
Oh. And then you get if you happen to have the week round 1 bye and get to bypass Washington, which I don't think they're like a juggernaut run stopping defense in my opinion. That's just Frank saying that. Then you get the Vikings, which we all saw what Zeke and Tony Pollard just did to that. In your first playoff game, again, if you have the bye or the second round, semifinal round, and then they get the Colts run defense in week 17 of the championship. So the only problem with that is you're playing home. So who knows if it's a snow game or really cold. So for me, I'm saying go ahead and make the trade. I'll take Barkley. Versus dealing with Mixon and Fields. I feel okay with Brady. I mean, we know it's not great, but his receivers are getting better. He has the talent around them. Line's getting a little bit healthier and just gelling together a little more. So I'm Barkley. You're saying stick with the Mixon Field side. I don't really like Fields, schedule coming up, after these next
I also
couple
say
games.
that because I have Brady. Brady is my number 2 now because I started with Brady. I picked up Fields and started playing Fields, and he's been scoring a lot more than Brady. And even with this whole concussion shoulder situation for Fields, as long as he clears that shoulder, I'd be more than happy to fire him up because he's just far and above Brady right now, points wise. You know what I mean? Just like that's why I would take that side of it. You know what I mean? Like, because I
Yeah,
mean, Barkley
I know
and
what you mean.
Mixon
I'm just
might be
disagreeing.
washing. They just might be washing each other. I think. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they're good. Barkley's going to be that much more better than Mixon, especially with the situations that we're talking about. So I don't know. It's kind of hard.
Yeah. And then possibly Chase coming back, so that might, limit some opportunities if, Chase is back as well too. And then again, Mixon's playoff schedule is Tampa, New England Patriots, and Bills, probably the 3 toughest run defenses that you could face. So I'm getting rid of Mixon if I can, especially if I can get Barkley for him, who's going to be worked in the passing game, and which I'm sure a lot of the, people have. It's kind of tough because you don't know if Mixon's actually going to play next week. But one of the biggest waiver ads, that we're going to talk about here is going to be Samaje Perine, who's pretty much had the third down work there anyway in the 2-minute offense. You do see him in the field, and if you guys remember, he was on the field on the last play of the Super Bowl. That wasn't Mixon. That was there. It was Samaje Perine, who Joe Burrow was trying to throw to, incompletion, game over, Rams win. Mixon nowhere in sight. So just me. I know that was we took like 18 minutes to answer that question, but it was a good one. It involved a lot of the players we were going to talk about here tonight and a lot of the news that we had. So appreciate the setup question there, Sufjan. That was awesome. So
I mean, I might as well go over the numbers for Samaje Perine since you mentioned him, and we have the numbers.
Well,
here.
we're going to give out our. Hold on, we'll get right there. Okay. Just wait 1 second.
We never get there. We always think we're gonna get there.
No, we're gonna try to stay on track. We did good last time. We did good.
Right, good.
So yeah. So either way, there it is. And he's saying the same thing. Mixing playoff schedules and pretty rough too. Bucks bat Bills. Yep, we were saying that. So he's saying thanks, appreciate it. So hopefully somewhere in there in our rambling, you heard the answer you were looking for. At least got some info on what what you might be able to do there. So. We'll get into it now, man. So again, you guys have any questions or anything, comments, drop them in there, drop them in the chat. We'll definitely get to them. But without any further ado, let's get into some game balls, man. So
I want to mention this. I appreciate the beating the Vikings. I think you appreciated that too, didn't you? Weren't you playing against the Vikings?
Yeah, I was a total Cowboys fan this week, man. I was playing against Cousins, I was playing against Jefferson, and I was playing against Cook. In our 2 main home leagues that are, are not big money, but we got good stuff.
Money.
We got
that's good money right there. Shoot,
we got belts on the line.
Yeah,
we got. See, I have it in arm's distance now. Shout out to TrophySmack.com.
Right.
Go check them out. Use that promo code GetRight. Get you a belt like that. But yeah, man. So, it's I was definitely rooting for the Cowboys. They shut everybody down, so I was loving it. So it definitely brought me the W.
I like this comment from Jonathan also. Is Keenan finally back healthy and he looked good, especially on the deep ball? Yes, I agree. It looked
That's
really
the
nice
Keenan we
catch,
want to see.
but Williams went down, and I had Williams, and I was like, one play in, re-aggravated his injury,
I knew it
and
was too early for him to
and
come back,
I was
man.
not happy about that. And I'm like, oh. But
Not,
Keenan finally, it's literally been waiting all season for this. I think. I don't know how many games did he play in the beginning? Like 2, 3, maybe.
he left in the first game. He's
First
this
game,
is like
yeah,
his
that was
first
it.
game
Like,
back. Yeah,
yeah,
he's been gone like all season. So
forever. So
with a
finally,
hamstring. Yeah,
yeah.
it's insane. But yeah, shout out to Keenan Allen. Welcome back. If you maybe made a trade for him, hopefully you bought low enough on him to make it work. So shout out to Dynasty Pylon in the house. I don't know what all his faces he's making here, Martin. What's up, man? So he's just making some faces. So it's all good. And we'll talk about the Guillotine League, baby. Top 7 in my first Guillotine League. Let's go.
You still in
So
it?
it's getting close. Yeah, man, I'm still in there. They can't
Okay.
get rid of me. I'm like a fly on the wall, dude. I'm just buzzing around everybody. So it's a lot of fun in there. We almost had
Nice,
one of the Nerd Huddle guys, Ryan. He almost went out this week. It was close, but
Ooh,
I think Jordo unfortunately ended up taking the fall there. So a lot of fun. If you haven't gotten into Guillotine League, make sure you guys go check it out. Gotta give a big shout out to my guy Jay Media, my fellow Niner brethren in here. Let's go, baby! Niners putting that smack down. One of my favorite plays, man, is where they had Christian McCaffrey lined up in the backfield, and then Debo came motioned in the backfield, and then they motioned Christian McCaffrey out. And so it's just like we just had a running back here, and then now we just switched him. It just reminds me of like Little Giants. He's like the quarterback's not even there, the guard is to the left and the running backs to the right,
right, yeah,
and he's like they're just standing around, So shout out to Little Giants, man. But that's some good stuff right there.
You know what I do gotta say? I am concerned about the Christian McCaffrey use.
I'm not concerned about anything.
Really? I don't think they're using him enough.
Oh, why? There's no one is 38-10. You don't need to.
Yeah,
It's not Carolina. Like they got to keep him fresh. No, keep him fresh. We're trying to win a Super Bowl, man. Forget your fantasy football teams.
Whatever, man.
Forget your fantasy team.
This guy's over here talking like Bill Belichick. Forget that.
Yeah, forget those fantasy, man. We're trying to do bigger and better things over there. But yeah, so he said I'm going to take it easy.
Fantasy wise, it sucks though, bro. I mean, like let's face it, right?
What would you say? I was reading Jonathan's comment.
I'm just saying, honestly, though, it does suck, though, fantasy-wise, that he's not getting that much usage. I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I do agree that they're doing probably the right thing, keeping him fresh, not taking as many hits and this and that. But 7 rush attempts for 39 yards.
Yeah, dude, almost. I was gonna say, he had what, like 7 catches for almost 100 yards. I mean, in PPR leagues, that's what you want more anyway. Like, don't run him up in the middle. You don't want him to get hurt. Like, you want him you want him to play next week, right?
I understand. I'd rather have a 25-point game, though.
True. I mean, don't we all? But when it's 38-10,
yeah,
it's 38-10.
I get it.
If it was a closer game, he would have put up more points. I mean, I think he put up 20 last week.
No, because they mentioned the stat, which was like I think halfway through the game, he only had run the ball 7 times at that, and one of the runs was by Garoppolo. So they only had 6 runs by the 49ers by like halftime.
Yeah, but just 2 games ago, he scored 42.26 points. I mean, what else do you want?
I want more of that. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
They got McCaffrey out here running that pump pass kick drills on teams over here. So, man, that was good stuff. That's good stuff.
All the time.
For sure. So yeah, man. So let's give out some game balls, man. So let's do it. Quarterback position. I'll give it to you first, man. Who are you giving out your game ball to this week?
Oh man, you got it all set up. I'll let you start first because you did
all the hard work. I have it there. It's just there. Those are just guys I'm thinking. You can use them. You could use somebody else. It's up to you, man. It's your game ball. Go ahead. That's why I have 3 different options, just in case you happen
I'm
to pick
give
one.
Out my game ball to my
else.
guy, Dak Prescott, for going 22 of 25.
There you go.
3 incompletions, 283 yards, I believe, 2 touchdowns, and like literally a clean game. I think he only had the first incompletion was like in the 3rd quarter, and that was it was just I think he was just throwing it in the corner. But I mean, what else do you want? I thought it was they were talking smack about him before the game. And the commentators was like, he's done. He's not doing this, not doing that. But he shut all that down, and I'm glad that it all went the right way, and I hope they continue to do so. And that's my guy. If we're gonna throw a
Dakota
quarterback in there, I'm
Rain
gonna throw.
Prescott, Frank's game ball. Well done. So I had a couple guys listed here, as you said. Jacoby Brissett puts up 31.86 fantasy points this week as the QB3. You had Andy Dalton in here putting up 28.2 fantasy points. You even had Ryan Tannehill sneaking in the top 10 at QB11, putting up 23.02 points. Could have had a little more if Derrick Henry didn't throw a touchdown to Hooper instead of him.
That was awesome, by the way.
It was pretty cool. If you guys remember all the way back to Thursday night. And actually, I think those are moved down a bit, actually, because Ryan Tannehill's now QB. Oops, we're going 6 point for passing touchdowns. So Tannehill actually bumped down to 12, and Andy Dalton bumped down to QB5. But the reason why is because I'm giving my game ball to the guy who jumped all the way ahead of all these guys, my guy, Jimmy G, finishing as the QB3. 20 for 29, 228 yards, and 4 touchdowns. 2 to Ayuk, 2 to the man, George Kittle. Finishes the night with 33.42 points in 6 point per passing touchdown leagues. So Jimmy Garoppolo, you earned your game ball tonight, my friend. If you're this guy, there's no reason to go after Trey Lance. Like, if you can be this guy and look this good, keep it clean, make the right choices, not airmailing a bunch of balls in terrible moments. Just do this type of production. You don't need to throw for 400. 200 and something's great. 4 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, I'll take it. So my game ball goes to my guy, Jimmy G. So see, I threw a curveball at you. You didn't see that one happening, huh? Wasn't in the show notes.
He wasn't on the list.
Wasn't on the list. So we're gonna switch it up a little bit tonight too. Usually we'll do all of our game balls by position and then give out our anti-game balls. But I thought, why not, while we're still talking quarterbacks, let's give out or if we're taking a game ball away from somebody, or taking their helmet off, taking their helmet and sit them right here on the bench with me. Who do you want to give out your anti-game ball to this week?
As far as quarterbacks is concerned?
Yeah.
Ooh.
You want me to go? I'll go first on this one since you went first last time.
Yeah.
All right. So for me, I had 3 people I had to narrow down to. I'll give it to the one guy you probably won't give it to because you probably actually give him a game ball, and that's going to be Kirk Cousins. It pretty much turned into Kurt Cousins, finishing as the QB 27, only 2.2 fantasy points. Like I was saying, I was playing against him. So I was so happy when that happened. 2.2 fantasy points to me is worthy of an anti-game ball. So Kirk Cousins, let's not do that anymore, unless you're playing me again. But otherwise, let's not do that. So Kirk Cousins is my anti-game ball. Who you got?
I got somebody. I thought about it. Zach Wilson. Going for 9 to 22, 77 yards. I think the coach even came out and said he's no longer a lock to be the starter. So, hey, wah on them because, he might lose his job. I mean, he might lose his starting job. I mean, they were waiting on him to come in. He gets to start. Now he's like not doing what he needs to be doing. And yeah.
You said Zach Wilson?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
Why did you think I said?
No, I was reading the comments and I thought I heard that's what you heard. Or I thought that's what I heard. I didn't know if you went Zach Wilson or Russell Wilson, so I just wanted to make sure.
Zachary Wilson with the the Jets there.
There you go.
Jets. Again,
and this is also why.
9 to 22, 77 yards, 3.5 yard average, no touchdowns. Just terrible game. You know what I mean? Like, and again, I'm just saying. I remember even seeing the news that the coach even said he's no longer a lot to be a start. He probably won't start next week. I mean, I don't think they just come out and say that just for the shits and giggles.
Right, light a fire under him or something, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, like Jonathan's saying here, man, that Jets game was brutal. That second half, Jeff Jets offense averaged only 2.77 inches. That's not a typo.
Oh, I posted that.
2.77 inches per play in the second half, and then they lose on a punt return. How awful is that? I mean, if there's nothing more Bill Belichick than that, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. He just gives it to the Jets in all kinds of ways. Way to stick it to him, man.
I know, and they were thinking they're going to finally break the curse and this and that. And
yeah, not a chance. Not a chance.
It's literally a game of inches.
Yeah, and I think I read somewhere on Twitter where they said the reason he lost his job, like you were saying, or the reasons why they said that was probably enough. And this wasn't even like from a joking account. I think this was actually from like not Richard Sherman, but it was from like an actual like either player, retired player / reporter, saying that when asked if he let his defense down by only not only scoring 3 points, he said no. And that's when they kind of were like, all right, his head's not in the right spot. So it's pretty interesting. Yeah. So what up, Dim boys? How's it going, man? Appreciate you for dropping in here. So we'll see how this episode goes, man. We got the OG in the house. It's always nice. Always nice when he's here.
It's been a while to see him, man, honestly.
Yeah, I know. It's been a little bit for you. I mean, Dim boys and I talk pretty much every day, of course, through our leagues, but nice to see him here on the stream, man. So I think it's because we're finally late enough. Might have the kids in bed this time, so we'll see.
It's time to get some shows in.
Yeah, can get the show in. So he said a punt return and a horrible missed block in the back. Yeah, it was pretty brutal, man. Everybody saw it. I thought they were going to get the flag on that, but they didn't throw it. The refs were probably just like, this game's done. We're not going to overtime in a 3-3 game. There's no reason for that. Let's just
Did you see that?
Yeah, it was so blatant. It was so blatant. It was ridiculous.
We gotta go home.
Yeah. And Martin, if you're still in here, man, have you queued up that new episode of Gridiron Heights? Because I think Frank, you sent us a thing in our group chat today about the Gridiron Heights. It was like the Friday scene with Micah Parsons snatching Kirk Cousins' chain.
Justin,
so that was pretty funny. So I'd like to see that episode. You're gonna have to catch out the Dynasty Pylon. Make sure you check it out. They usually play that Gridiron Heights on there, man. So there you go. All right, so we'll keep it moving here. So we got Zach Wilson and Kirk Cousins with our anti-game balls at the quarterback position. So now let's move on to the running back position, man. Switching back over to the winner side, your actual game ball. Who are you giving out the game ball to?
I wasn't ready. Go ahead.
And running backs. I think this is a no-brainer.
Oh, we can give it. No, I don't want to just keep giving everybody to the
Cowboys. It's the time. I mean, dude, you won 40-3. Like, if there's a time to do it, right? This is the time. Why
not give it to the guy that we didn't expect too much from, Samaje Perine?
Well, it kind of happened due to an injury.
Better yet, Jamal Williams, because he became the touchdown leader for I forget how many touchdowns he got now for the season, but he became the running back touchdown leader this week, and he ended up getting 3 touchdowns. He's on my team. That's what's up, which kind of sucks because I also have Swift as a keeper, and that dude's killing me. But I also have him, so that's a good thing. So, hey, Williams. We'll go with Jamal Williams.
There you go. I just want to say what's up to Cadillac. How's it going, brother? He has a question in here. We'll definitely get to it, a trade question, so I'm going to keep it marked, and we'll get back to it. But we'll get to it. Dim Boy saying I've been crazy busy lately, so that's why he hasn't been able to jump on, but he's glad he's here. So, 12 TDs for Jamal. There you go. And you guys, drop your who you guys giving out game balls to in the chat. We want to know. So I'll do it. Since you didn't do it, the RB1 of the week, Mr. Tony Pollard, 36.9 PPR fantasy points, man, 15 carries for 80 yards. And this was with Zeke returning and still having a good game himself.
Zeke got 2 touchdowns himself.
Because they let Pollard try to do it twice. He couldn't get in. Then they brought in Zeke, and they just powered in for his first one. And then the game was over by the time he scored the second one. I wasn't really checking in too much.
The second one was so easy. It was just like a spin move on the outside. Don't even bother to I'm like, are you serious? You're not going to contain the edge?
But crazy, whatever. Man. Crazy. So Tony Pollard.
Jonathan throwing it up here for I need Maher game ball.
Game ball to all the Cowboys, man. 40-3.
He gave me 18 points, dude. He's my kicker. He gave me 18 points. That's what's up. That's solid.
That's good stuff right there, man. That's good stuff. So yeah, Tony Pollard, man, 36.9 points again, 15 for 80 on the ground, but did all of his damage pretty much in the air. 6 catches on 6 targets for 109 yards and two touchdowns that way. And that's what was actually incredible. It wasn't like, oh, he's just running an angle route or an out. I mean, they ran him on a streak. Dude caught it like 30 yards down the field over the top, just like a receiver, man.
Oh, yeah, he just reached out.
And then he was out. He was just, dude has speed. So it's interesting. They obviously say they want to keep his touches around, 15-ish or so. Obviously, he got 21 here. And again, this was with Zeke, back. So it's just kind of like a 1-2 punch. And I think this is almost kind of like we want to use McCaffrey, like how you guys are using Pollard. We got Elijah Mitchell in there to do the Zeke dirty work, keep this guy fresh. We want this guy fresh on all his touches. So
just got to pound the ball later on in the game. Just keep
pounding. Get your lead and then just let the other guy salt it out.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
So there you go, man. Tony Pollard getting my game ball. Like you said, you got Samaje Perine in there with his 3 touchdown game, 4 catches for 52 yards, 11 carries on 30 attempts after Mixon goes down. And then my honorable mention, man, I'll give it to him, Najee Harris, 27.6 fantasy points, just like Jonathan was saying earlier. 20 carries, 90 yards, a 4.5 average, which is actually pretty decent. He did find the end zone twice. And then only 4 catches for 26 yards, which is, last year that was his bread and butter, was getting those, targets out of the backfield, obviously with check down Roethlisberger. So that's not quite happening. If you can trade him, I still would trade him after this game. Jonathan, if you still have a trade going, try to sell him high. Or just sell him in general. Like now he has maybe some value and someone might be willing to take a chance on him. But I would try to, turn him into somebody else there if you can and package him. So definitely check it out. So as far as anti-game balls for the running back positions, then we'll get to some questions in the chat. Who you giving out an anti-game ball to this week?
Ooh. Let me see. Who had it? Like just Melvin Gordon for losing his job?
There you go. There you go.
That guy
fumbled it again. He fumbles again, and the ball just he didn't even just fumble it and drop it. Like it just squirted out 7 yards the other way.
Yeah,
like he had stick like oil or soap in his hands, and it just bing, just shot out.
Yeah, it just came out of nowhere.
They're
right?
just in disgust.
I just lost the ball.
There you go. So forget his stats. He's not even getting it for his stats.
He was playing some future music in the locker room, and that's pissed off after the loss or something or whatever.
Yeah, so Melvin Gordon. Yeah, it was just a joke, but they say Melvin Gordon went into the locker room and started playing Future on his playlist, and then Russell Wilson went in and told him he needed to. Yeah, went to management and got him booted off the team. So for those of you guys who don't know, obviously Future is Ciara's ex-man who just filed a lawsuit against them for 15 million. So we're not here to talk about all that, but it was just Twitter's funny sometimes when you start going down those rabbit holes. So so check him out, man. Check him out. All right, so let's get to some of these here before we get into the wide receiver game balls. We got Cadillac asking Stevenson and Debo for
we didn't
Barkley.
get one of yours. Who you giving the anti-game ball to?
Oh, all right, so I had to put Donta Foreman on here because everyone was all hyped off Foreman, blah, 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 this and that. I'm not touching him. Okay, he'll have a couple good games. Just right when you trust him, you put him in your lineup in a must-win potential situation, and he puts up 2.4 fantasy points. And it wasn't like they were getting blown out and had to just keep passing. It was a close game for a lot of this time. Very close game with it easily within reach. But only had 11 carries, 24 yards, 2.2 yard average. No touchdowns. Again, not touching anybody on this Carolina offense, especially with Baker back. So a couple of my honorable mentions were Dameon Pierce, only getting 3.7 points, Saquon Barkley, and Dalvin Cook, all under 10 points. So that's brutal in a PPR.
Yeah, Saquon's 3.5 is terrible.
Ooh, got that sickness catching up with me a little bit. Guess I'm not all the way back. Whew. God, I haven't talked this much in a week. Believe it or not, guys. I can thumb it out okay, but actually speaking it, haven't really said too much in a week. So let's get to this, man. Cadillac's asking Stevenson and Debo
that's
for
saying
Barkley.
A lot for Anthony, I'll tell you guys.
No, yeah, for those of you guys who know, that's It's tough for me. And I'm in sales. Like I couldn't even do my job, man. It was crazy. So yeah, Stevenson and Debo for Barkley. Which side do you want? Stevenson and Debo or Barkley?
Ramondre Stevenson and Debo for Barkley. Stevenson's looking good though, man. I would just stick.
I'm taking Stevenson and Debo. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say Stevenson and Debo. I mean, because those are two solid players. Stevenson looks like a number one over there in New England, which is, I hate to say it and even salt on him, knock on wood for that guy. You know what I mean? Like literally, I don't want to jinx him, but I mean, he's as close to a number one as you're going to get in New England. So
yeah, he's getting all the third down work, all the 2-minute offense, all the goal line work for the most part. I mean, maybe Harris will sneak in there eventually, but yeah, I'm liking Stevenson so far. Debo, I mean, you see what his potential is. You know, like tonight. You know, his floor isn't as great, but with the way, you know, receivers are right now, especially with Kupp, Chase, you know, a lot of these guys out. Keenan Allen barely coming out. Mike Williams is out. You know, with a lot of these guys, I mean, Debo's, you know, still wide receiver 2. You know, maybe low end wide receiver 1 each week. So I'm definitely sticking with the, you know, Stevenson Debo side there. So let's see.
He finished the 6th this week for Debo.
Yeah. Dem Boys is saying it's a tough one. You'd have to sleep on that one if it was him. So we'll see how that goes. Martin was saying they usually show the new episodes on Wednesdays and they're hilarious. So that's that Gridiron Heights that I was talking about where they had that screenshot. Yeah. So we'll check that out. So I'll be definitely tuning in to Dynasty Pylon on Wednesday to see that new episode if they have it. And what else we got here? But yeah, he said he'd take the Debo side, but also depends on your roster.
Oh yeah, we got to catch up. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going. Feel free to jump in if you see anything else in here that we got. We got Martin in here saying give a game ball to Matt Milano. Shout out to the IDP owners, man. I think he put up 32 points for me in one of my IDP leagues, man. Matt Milano is the shiz. Dude just puts up points like crazy, man. He's just like a bat out of hell running around everybody, just soaking up everything. So it's good stuff. And
this is terrible. Did you see this? Won by a margin, but it's funny the guy bench Pollard for Sutton.
Because Zeke was coming back. I'm interested to know how many people actually bench Pollard knowing Zeke was coming back.
Yeah, that's a bad move.
I mean, I probably would have done the same thing depending on who I had.
Zeke, yeah.
Yeah. So absolutely, man.
Oh, he got 29 in his league because Maher, he must have extra points. And that's
absolutely.
Take that 60 yarder twice.
Yeah, that was crazy. The second one was better than the first one. He almost missed the first one.
Yeah. And it was like, oh, thanks for the warm up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know what get that in there. Let me straighten it out a little bit. Make it look even better when they show it on the replay. So and then Dim Boy saying, yeah, for sure, Martin. Milano killed it this week. And Jonathan saying, yeah, Nick Bolton with the Chiefs. Got him that gave him the, or he's given an IDP game ball to Nick Bolton. So there you go. See, we got to not forget our IDP game balls in here. I have to add that in.
Nick Bolton is a set and forget it dude and is awesome.
Yeah, no, he really is, man. That's good stuff.
The boys had a good point here. Pollard could have gone got a game ball for wide receiver as well. 6 for 6, 109 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Maybe that's what Frank was trying to do there. He would give out his other game ball to Jamal Williams and then going to give his receiving game ball to to Pollard. It's good stuff right there. What else you got? Go ahead. Keep rolling.
Did I trade away Fields for Zeke and Jamal Williams?
I would.
Yeah.
Considering you probably picked up Fields off the waiver wire, and if you already have a decent quarterback, absolutely.
Go do it, Shaka.
Absolutely. Get that running back depth heading in the fantasy playoffs when it's getting cold and dudes get rolled up on or pulled groins and, you know, slippery fields, twisted ankles and stuff, man. It's a lot of football left, man. Don't think you're safe. Like there's still a lot of football left unless you get that asterisk by your name. But with this one extra game, we got to wait like another week or two before you can even get that. And the year's been so weird. Like I know a lot of my leagues, it's just chunks of everybody with like the same record. Like no one's really killing it anywhere. And even if they are, their team's not that strong. It's most likely due to just interesting, weird matchups that they have. So we'll see. Tim Boy's saying Swiss should have a permanent anti-game ball. I kind of agree, man. I mean, they threw him a bone at the end of the game and gave him one of the touchdowns, or else Williams would have had 4 touchdowns on the game if it was like a close game, I think.
That's what saved me my game because I was like, this guy's just not even doing anything anymore.
Right? Yeah, and he was outsnapped by Justin Jackson, man. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Fields. And again, they're playing on Thursday, so I mean, unless they plan on giving him a big workload on Thursday, which is why they didn't play him on Sunday, like I still don't get it. I think the coaching staff likes Williams, man. They like that role, and they're just going to use Swift kind of like in between the 20s, it seems like, and maybe once in a while give him some goal line work. So, Jonathan saying Zeke needs to get an anti-game ball just for stacking Pollard's RB1 role.
I think we're looking at the situation when they were actually doing that with the Browns and Henry, having both of them actually run and get share carries where they could produce 2 viable running backs.
Right.
And I'm not saying that they're both going to be scoring touchdowns every week or anything like that, but I think what Anthony and I were referring to is, they're going to use one to pound the ball in, and the other guy is the speed guy and a change of pace guy and things like that. And I think if they're both going to be starters going forward, you're going to have to put them in, and let's see who gets the touchdowns for the week.
For sure.
Hopefully both.
Right. Kind of like saying in regards to that Stevenson Debo for Barkley trade, he's saying my other wide receivers are D-Hop, the Sun God, A-Rob, and Hollywood Brown. And his other RBs are Henry, Stevenson, Connor, and Jeff Wilson. So I definitely would rather roll out Henry and Stevenson versus Henry and Barkley. I haven't really looked since I sold off all my Stevenson shares just because that's what I do when I have a player like that kind of came around that you thought you could sell high on. I've been known to do that every once in a while. Kind of put my foot in my mouth every once in a while. But New England, they get the Vikings next, and they get the Bills week 13, Cardinals week 14, and then their playoff schedule is at Raiders, home against Cincinnati, and home against Miami. So that's a pretty decent, playoff schedule. I don't mind that at all. Only thing that worries me is Christmas Eve in New England on the 24th. Then you got New Year's Day. Too bad that wasn't at Miami, but you're in New England again, January 1st. So it's just worried about the weather there. But I mean, most of the time in those weather games, you're getting the runs anyway. I just think scoring overall in general is just kind of down. But that game script could very well, work in their favor. The problem is they only just put up, 3 points. They didn't even score an offensive touchdown this week, and that was against the Jets in good weather. That team's just so all over the place. So again, that's why I sold off Stevenson. I just didn't want to deal with it week to week. So, but as we talked about earlier in the show, with Barkley's schedule isn't that great either, and his line's falling apart, offense is falling apart around him. So who knows, how that goes. So I'd probably stand put because you're still keeping Debo, and you're keeping Debo. You're keeping him out of play, even if you feel like you don't want to start him. You're just not letting anybody else start him. You're playing a little bit defense, as well. So there you go. Anything else you want to add on that while I look through here?
No, it looks good. I mean, I was just looking at some of the questions as well. He's getting extra points for the 60-yarders, and we were doing that before. Gonna go back to that next year. I was like, some of these guys are really upset about that. I know Anthony doesn't care about the kickers. He's like, get rid of all the kickers anyways.
Yeah,
but they matter.
Not spending time on it. That's why, man. You get a kicker that's scoring you 30 points. Like, I'm not trying to play in the league with that. That's crazy. I mean, I'll do it, but still. No, I mean, you just got to adjust. I mean, you just got to understand what kickers mean in that game, and just do it. So Jonathan's given an anti-game ball to Pierce and Drake. That was rough. I agree. Pierce was definitely one of my my runners up here for my anti-game ball. And Dimboy's saying, thanks for that, Anthony. Stevenson's working out pretty well for me. So, yeah, I traded Stevenson off to Dimboy's. I thought I had a nice package. I got Mark Andrews. What was it? Mark Andrews, Jamar Chase, and Joe Burrow for Hurts, Devontae Smith. This was like weeks ago, though. Hurts, Devontae Smith, and 2 other players. Pretty good trade. And on both sides. But I lost Andrews the very next week after that. Well, they all went off the very next week, and I was like, "Oh yeah, nice." And everyone's like,
awesome.
"Oh, I was like, why'd you do that trade?" And then next thing you know, I lost Andrews. He's been gone, hasn't come back to his normal self yet. Then I lost Chase the very next week, and then the very next week after that, I lost Cup because I paired Cup with Chase, with Andrews, and Joe Burrow, and now my team sucks. So I'm pretty much done. So he ruined me there, and screw you, dim boys. That's all I have to say about that. Of course, Martin's going to say kickers are clutch. Of course, he's going to say kickers are clutch. Oh yeah, the fractional scoring is cool. That's better than that. I like that. That's a cool idea. I think they do that in the Scott Fish Bowl too. He says, yes, kickers in Dynasty is fun, especially when they miss. Yeah. So those are brutal. Yeah. Those are brutal. Kickers just overall did. I mean, you had like two kickers like at the top this week. Shout out to Tyler Bass, who I think went 5 for 5, even better than Maher this week. And yeah, Maher's outscoring Henry might be a bit much, but having him with 30 and Washington defense get 20 is hilarious. Yeah. So that's what I mean. It's just like it's numbers, so.
Brett Maher's 22, Tyler Bass 21.
Yeah. So, and again, just depending on people's scoring, though. Yeah, depending on their scoring. So, it was interesting, man. Kickers are they're too much of a variable. I don't like variables. Like you can't predict kicking. Like you just can't. You can sit here and analyze all you want. It's not like, oh, this defense gives up, kick points to kickers. Like sometimes it makes sense and other times it doesn't. Like there's no rhyme or reason. It just kind of depends on game flow, depends on the offense. Like you can try to get close to trying to predict it as much as you can. I just don't like not having control. And those who know me know I like to have a lot of control. So, yeah. And this is why too. And then you have freaking Gano getting you negative points. He's like, what a jackwagon. So that's what I'm saying, dude. I'm like, just get rid of him. Just add another flex player and make your other guys that are just sitting on the bench doing nothing have an opportunity to put those guys in. Play some of these other guys, these other offensive players that you can put in there and that you're already doing all your research and everything on. And it makes it a lot funner, in my opinion. So just turn that kicker into another flex position and it makes it a lot more fun. So, and yeah, Mike does have your back on kickers. Absolutely. Because Mike used to kick field goals apparently somewhere in one point in time. And I was a long snapper too. So I'm like, I don't hate special teams. Like I was a long snapper in high school. Like it was cool. I liked it then, but not when I'm playing fantasy football. It's just it is what it is. All right. See, we spent so much time on kickers already. I'm already upset.
Moving on.
All right. So we were wide receiver game balls, man. So go ahead. Who are you giving out your wide receiver game ball to? And drop your comments in the. Oh, I'll go first. I just want to give you an opportunity. Drop your comments in there. Who is your wide receiver game balls you guys want? Drop them in the chat.
I want to give it to somebody because I literally messed up and didn't start him. Picked him up off the waiver wire. Christian Watson, Green Bay, still doing solid, still doing some things over there, and I should have started him. He has a 6 for 4 reception, 66 yards, 2 touchdowns, and
4 for 6 for 48 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misread that then. 6 targets.
I think you got excited.
48 yards, 2 touchdowns. You're right. I am stand corrected there. And 1 rushing attempt for 3 yards, whatnot. But I mean, it's just the 2 touchdowns. He's getting the looks, and it seems to be the guy that's taken over there in Green Bay as far as wide receivers concerned. So, I'm going to be rolling them out next week because I had 2 players go down, Kadarius Toney and Williams. So that kind of sucks. So at least I picked this guy up last week. Should have probably started him, but we'll definitely next week and go from there.
Yep. And I think I'm going to have to agree with Jonathan Smith here, man. My game ball is going to Josh Palmer. Dude looked like a fantasy stud wide receiver 1 this game. We all saw it. He gets 8 catches on 10 targets. I think he even had a target or a nice catch even when Williams was still in the game. But once he left, he went back to business as usual. Especially with having Keenan Allen on the field. It kind of really helped him out even more. 8 catches, 106 yards, 2 touchdowns. Almost thought he caught the game-winning touchdown, but forgot there was Mahomes. Left too much time on the clock. Tell him to go ask. Tell Palmer and Herbert to go ask Josh Allen. Like he knows. You don't leave time for Patty Mahomes and Kelsey, who we'll get to here in a second. But yeah, man, Josh Palmer, 30.6 PPR points this week. So that's good stuff, man. Dim Boys is saying Amari Cooper. So Amari Cooper's getting his game ball. He had 2 touchdowns this week. Where was he? Wide receiver 2, 8 catches, 113 yards and 2 touchdowns. So definitely nice, nice grab there. And I've kind of been the Amari Cooper hater, so I'll give it to him as well too. I'm there with you, but I had to give it to my guy Palmer. You don't see him up in this part of the stat line in this top 5 wide receiver every week. So Martin saying, yeah, I got Ant talking about kickers for like 5 minutes straight. You did, man. You snuck it on me, dude. That was good stuff. I'll give it to you. I was
taking it on also. I was trying to get it there. Hey, it matters.
I know, man. Between kickers and tight ends, man, I talk so much about all the other stuff. I could cut out the kickers and tight ends and we're good. So, well done, man. See, and you got me talking about him again. See, he's trying to trick me again. It's good stuff. So, Jonathan Smith saying, how about DeMarcus Robinson and Wan'Dale Robinson? So, yeah, DeMarcus Robinson, man. He came out. Let's see, PPR. Make the change. So yeah, DeMarcus Robinson came out as the wide receiver 6, 9 catches on 9 targets for 128 yards, no touchdowns, but did score 21.8 fantasy points and a PPR. So he did well. Wan'Dale Robinson, even though unfortunately we lost him for the rest of the year with a torn ACL, as we found out today after the MRI. But he finished as wide receiver 9. 9 catches on 13 targets for 100 yards. So 19.4 fantasy points. So honorable mention for those guys there. Martin, it's been fun, guys. I'll see you around. Good night, fellas. So yeah, we're here late night. So appreciate you hanging out with us. I know Martin's busy. Got to get up early, get his stuff done, man. So we appreciate you hanging out with us, man. Everyone's saying good night. So we all love you. Make sure you guys go check out Dynasty Pylon. Make sure you sub to them. If I don't have his link in the description, go check our website. Oh, we haven't put that up there yet. We're going to have that up there soon. But just go check them out. Dynasty Pylon, search it on YouTube, hit subscribe. They're our boys. You'll see them here on Get Right, and we'll make an appearance over on Dynasty Pylon every once in a while too, when they have us, when they'll have us. All right, so anti-game balls. Look at Jonathan's getting ahead of us. Anti-game balls for the wide receiver position. He's saying Devin Duvernay, opposite of DeMarcus Robinson, there for your Baltimore Ravens. He said he think he had like 1.3 points. So we'll fact check you on that. And while we look that up, Frank, why don't you tell us who you're giving your anti-game ball to?
Ooh, Justin Jefferson.
Ooh, tell him about it. Tell him about it.
I was just gonna say your guy anyway, because obviously we were talking about it. And
give it to him.
He went 3 for 40 against Dallas, 5 targets, 3 receptions, 33 yards, 6.3 points. I mean, you got shut down. I mean, that's the shutdown of any kind of guy that's out there of his caliber. You know what I mean? Getting 6.3 points. And yeah, I mean, I know that Anthony won his game because of that. So there's people that are literally losing games
and lost because I had him in another league that I lost to. With them,
have him lose, but you didn't lose guy. I was doing the same thing with Christian McCaffrey this week tonight. Having winning and losing against them, so it's kind of sweet, bittersweet, right?
And it worked out how I needed it to, because I could afford to take the loss where I took the loss, so I was happy to get the win by him being shut down. So it was good. So Justin Jefferson, man, 6.3 fantasy points. Obviously a bad day at the office. 3 catches, 33 yards, like you said. Go Cowboys, right? So I'm gonna give my anti-game ball to one of my favorites, man, AJ Brown, Mr. Arthur Juan, as we all know him here in Get Right Land. Mr. Arthur Juan Brown, only 9 fantasy points, 5 catches on 7 targets, 60 yards, but we all saw it all happen, or at least I did. That fumble, man, was brutal. He catches it, guy comes out, pokes the ball out, almost basically cost them the game. Luckily, they were able to still pull it out by 1 point, 16-17. But it was very too close of a game that it needed to be. That fumble was a huge part of it. I'm pretty sure both these guys are going to bounce back. You never see these guys here. Justin Jefferson finished as the wide receiver 48. and AJ Brown is the wide receiver 41. So, it's pretty bad for both those guys, but I'm definitely not worried about it. We'll probably be giving both those guys game balls next week. So honorable mention I had on here was CeeDee Lamb.
Wait or the other way.
Yeah, since we're giving all the Cowboys game balls, we'll at least give an anti-game ball to CeeDee Lamb. You got your Dallas offense putting up 40 points. Everyone's going off except for CeeDee Lamb. After his big breakout game last week, I'm sure a ton of people started him or traded for him and threw him in the lineup. And he puts up a whopping 9.5 points, 5 catches, 5 targets for only 45 yards. Didn't they overturn that last call where he had that like toe drag swag catch on the end?
Yeah.
I switched channels, and I'm pretty sure they didn't give it to him, which is why Maher had to kick that 60-yarder, right? Instead of it being a lot closer, right? So he could have had a little bit better of a day. At least got over that, out of single digits, but that catch got overturned. So wouldn't it have been 5 for 6 then? Why would he still be 5 for 5? Maybe they did give it to him. I don't know. I'm going to go back and check that and add that all up. But either way, honorable mention for an anti-game ball. So I'll start with this one first, man. Tight ends.
Oh yeah,
it has to be Kelsey.
Go ahead. Far away, Devin Duvernay was caught his one lone target for 3 yards and added 4 rushing yards. That's it.
Oh, so 1.7, Jonathan, not 1.3. So there you go. Well done. I totally forgot about that. See, that's why you got Frank. Frank, you're on that, dude. That's what's up. Oh, there you go. Them boys put in that Dynasty Pylon link
for him.
There you go. Make sure you guys go check that out in the chat. Go throw the boys there, subscribe, tell them Get Right sent you. We love going to take over their channel and start talking shit to Martin, but in a respectful way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Just have fun over there. Tell them you're from Get Right. Tell them kickers don't matter.
Fantasy banter way, right?
Exactly. But yeah, man. So my tight end game ball, of course, just my overall Sunday game ball is going to Travis Kelce. This dude is a freaking cheat code. Like them boys here is saying, Kelce gets his wide receiver game ball because he's not a tight end. The dude's not. He's unreal. Like, I don't know how he does what he does still at his age. Doesn't look like he's slowing down at all. Has one of the best quarterbacks thrown to him in the game right now. 6 catches on 10 targets. Could have had an even bigger game. I think Mahomes at least once a game hits him like in the face mask, the back of the helmet, or the shoulder pads, or the back.
Right? Doesn't even know it's coming.
Yeah, and he doesn't even know it's coming because he's trying to juke somebody out
from behind. Yeah.
Yeah, and he just like sidearms it and hits the dude right in the shoulder or something, and he's like, "What happened?" So you're always good for one of those every week. But either way, man, 6 catches, 115 yards. This guy's yak is just crazy for as big of a dude he is. He just moves so fast. I think people just underestimate his speed because it doesn't look like he's running fast, and he doesn't like juke, like have crazy jukes. He's just shifty. Like for as big as he is, he's shifty and he can get going. He knows how to set up blocks and run after the catch. And he's being double teamed most of the time. I mean, I just don't understand how you let this guy go for 115 and get the game-winning touchdown on you like that. 3 total touchdowns in the game. Dude's just an animal. So yeah, man, Travis Kelce, just line him up for a game ball every week. I spent my 106 in our home league on him. Well worth it. I'll be in, I think, second place after tonight with Kelce, and pretty much a lot of people that have Kelce on their team, I think, are at least probably top 3 this year. I mean, unless you completely missed on your other picks. So shout out to Travis Kelce. Who you got? Who you giving a game ball to for a tight end?
I would have given it to that guy, but I really don't care about them. So I'm going to give it to Austin Hooper.
There you go.
He went 4 for 4, 36 yards and 2 touchdowns.
One of them thrown by Derrick Henry.
Yeah, and that was very cool. That was what I was going to say. So cool. I said he's catching passes from running backs even. So there was a really cool design play that they did on that, and that was. I mean, 2 touchdowns. What else do you want from a guy? He came out of nowhere. That's a game ball for the guy. He's not always going to be doing that, but he had a good game.
Yeah. So that's it for our game balls. I'm giving it. We don't give out tight end anti-game balls because, like, after the top guys, just you can give it to anybody. Like, I don't expect anything else from any other tight end. So that's just in my opinion. I had no expectation for any other tight end, so I'm not gonna just shit on the position even more and give him an anti-game ball. when I wasn't expecting anything. So I'll just recognize greatness and I'll move on. How about you?
That is so
Are you
funny.
okay with that?
Yeah, I'm great with that. It's funny because I wasn't looking at your notes. I was looking at somewhere else. And I just actually seen that you actually had Hooper at the notes. That's pretty cool.
Oh, there you go. That's why I thought you were saying, no, I'm not going with that guy. And I was like, oh.
I was looking
and then
at
you
Kittle.
said the guy, and I was
Honestly,
like, oh.
I wasn't going with Kittle because Kittle just had an awesome game, right? You know, he went
Yes, he did.
4 receptions, 84 yards, 2 touchdowns, also 24
Yes,
points for
sir.
him. But I just didn't want a 2 to 49er again. So that's why
There
I
you
went
go.
with Hooper.
Well, I appreciate at least you mentioned it because I almost kind of forgot because, I work on the show notes and stuff as I'm watching the game and all this other stuff. So I have to
It
adjust
happened
once
while
it's
you were
already
actually
done.
doing it or whatever.
Yeah,
exactly.
So that's all good. But yeah, I always shout out to Kittle. That dude's a beast. One of my just favorite football players, just in general, regardless if he was a Niner or not. He's just the kind of guy I like when you play football, man. How do you not watch that guy and just get hyped? We got Danks in here. What's up, Danks? How's it going? Hopefully you're still here with us. I know we were rambling on for a bit, but we always get to the questions. If you can, make sure you hit that subscribe button for us if you haven't already. I'm pretty sure I've seen you in here before, but just in case, I always got to say it for anybody that is watching and not subscribed. Make sure you do. But he's saying, how do you guys feel about trading Gabe Davis for DeAndre Swift?
Yeah, get some Gabe Davis. I mean, Swift is
He's
done.
9-2. It's full PPR. I mean, if you really need a running back, I mean, you might be able to get more for Gabe Davis. Personally, I'm not. I'd stick with my, opportunities for Gabe Davis. I think he's actually being worked in a little more as a regular wide receiver, more so than just kind of just being a deep threat, now. I think ever since Allen's injury, I don't think he's even attempted a pass over 20 air yards. Might have to check me on that. I'll check my PFF.
No, he did. He has one. He's got a couple.
But not anywhere
But
near
not like
as
he
what he
has
was doing prior to that.
pass, no.
Just hasn't even been throwing the ball that far down the field. He's almost kind of been more of a game manager these last couple games, actually. I actually had him here as one of my anti-game ball honorable mentions here, finishing at QB 18 with only 14.58 fantasy points from a guy who's been putting up, 40 just like Lamar, who was my other guy. But I went with Kirk Cousins because, 2.2 points from a quarterback. Still. But as far as that trading Gabe Davis, man, no, I'm holding Gabe Davis. You're 9-2. Obviously, it's not hurting you having him. So I'd keep him. If anything, you're keeping him off somebody else's squad. I think someone's just trying to sell DeAndre Swift for whatever they can at this point. So if it was the other way around, and you could trade off DeAndre Swift for Gabe Davis, I would do that in a heartbeat. And that's not even because of this. When we get to 600 subscribers, we're giving away a signed Gabe Davis jersey. So that probably just tells you how we feel about this question. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, man. We're only like 17 away. And when you do,
off the cold.
There you go. When you do, we'll be giving away this jersey. So make sure you guys get in there and check it out. There's a nice closer look at that bad boy. Real nice jersey. It's all authenticated, comes with one of those certificates and everything. So make sure you guys get in there, hit that subscribe button for us, and we'll be giving this thing away soon.
How far away are we now?
Only 17, man. We're at 583. Yeah, so shout out to all those get right degenerates out there, man. We're just there, man. Let us hit it. Come on, let's give this thing away. So we got more coming, but we need you guys' support. Hit that subscribe button, man. So Dinks, I'm keeping him right now. That's just me. Not really targeting DeAndre Swift right now. We've been talking about Jamal. Dem Boys mentioned it earlier. Justin, what's his name?
Permanent anti-game ball for DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, pretty much at the point right now. But not Justin Jefferson. Who's that? Who's the dude from the Chargers that just signed over there? He's even getting more snaps than DeAndre Swift right now. So I'm not touching him. So Jonathan saying any Vikings or Panthers wide receiver
Hall.
He would take. I don't know where that went. Yeah, Justice Hall's on Baltimore.
It was Justin
or Justice Hill. He's on Baltimore. It's the other dude. It's Justin. No, it's Justin somebody else, man. Find it. Just go look at that depth.
All right, I'll find it for you.
It's up here in the notes,
yeah, even,
or in the chat. Yeah, so you'll get there. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. Help us out. They'll tell us in the chat. You guys know.
I always draw a blank, so don't.
Justin Jackson, something like that.
Yeah,
there you go. Justin Jackson. There we go. See, just ask. Whenever in doubt, just ask the chat, man. They got our backs over here. Shout out to Get Right Fantasy Network, baby. Let's go. Couldn't do this without you guys, man. Love it. All right. It's the best community. All right. So where were we, man? So we had sort of an anti-game ball for CD, shocking with the amount of points and Cowboys dropped. Yep. So I did mention that we're a little behind.
Yeah.
So see, we're on the same page here, John. That's what I'm talking about, my guy. He said he had to catch that. He said on the broadcast it wasn't a catch, but they made them re-kick it because they wanted to review the play. Oh, okay. So I guess that's what they were saying there. Right. And Jonathan saying got to be a homer. Shout out to the Saints fan in here. Juwan Johnson coming up big with the touch. I had to spot start him, man, in a flex spot this week. I went with 12 personnel. Got me the touchdown, baby. Still lost to Kittle, but I don't mind. I
actually have him as a waiver wire pickup. He's on the list. We get down to
hit him with it.
Him.
There you go.
But yeah, he's on Yahoo 30% owned, ESPN 19, Sleeper 73 because they don't be sleeping on Sleeper. But the last games have been fantasy points of 10, 10, and 11, 1 touchdown each game. And like 2 weeks before that, he had a 2-touchdown game. So he's been, getting the looks over there with Andy Dalton as quarterback, and to the chagrin of my other guy that is over there. Help me out. The other tight end that's over there in New Orleans.
Adam Trautman. Adam Trautman and Taysom Hill.
Oh,
your guy. Taysom Hill.
My guy, Taysom Hill.
Because he's a quarterback.
Taysom Hill still got his touchdown in.
And a running back.
And he's a slash player, and that's why I like him, because at the end of the day, they just make plays for the guy, and he's a baller. He's still
he got like 9 carries and 50-something yards. I mean, just Taysom Hill, man.
9 for 52 yards. Yep, he had 1 reception.
I don't know why I know this stuff.
8 yards. 1 reception.
Total useless information, I guess.
But I mean, the guy still puts up fantasy points, and that's the real. I mean, they're not great. 7.56 or whatever. But for, waiver wire pickup tight end, he's basically par for the course for, just about everybody. Juwan Johnson, though, he's definitely definitely getting the looks and the touches now. And I think he did it last year, too, if I remember correctly.
He had a 3-touchdown game last year, and then kind of faded out after that.
Away,
they didn't really do anything.
But this one, he hasn't been fading away. He's in 10, 11.
They re-signed him. That was important.
Yeah, exactly. Those are solid numbers. So I'd definitely fire him up, again next week, or at least on daily or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, until you need a reason not to again.
Exactly.
Dimboy said Kelsey did all that against Derwin James all day too, and that's what's even more impressive. 115 yards on Derwin James. It's probably just why he didn't have even a bigger game on those 10 targets. Why he only caught 6 was because Derwin James was in there, and he said he got him back for that WWE slam that he gave him last time. So if you guys remember that when they played, dude, that was awesome, man. And I think he even went on the podcast and talked about it with his brother.
But somebody else got into trouble for that.
He's like, he got me good.
Because he did a side suplex. I forgot who it was.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
That
I
play?
remember that. Yeah, they threw a flag on him and they extended the drive.
Yeah.
Like,
more of that. Like, what does he do? Play WWE out here?
Yeah, that was crazy. Kind of like saying a guy I played this week thought he was saved with Mahomes. He forgot I had Kelsey. I actually beat a Kelsey and Pollard team this week with one of my leagues. I went up against Kelsey and Pollard and still squeaked away with the W by like 6 points or so, 4 points or something like that. So that was pretty awesome. And then in our main home league, I had Mahomes going against Kelsey. I thought I had it in the bag. And then Kelsey kind of went off with it, but thank God I had Mahomes because it just kind of canceled out. The touchdowns didn't really hurt me. It was just a wash. And I had enough, lead with the other guys that the 32 points didn't do anything to me. So, the only way you can counter Kelsey is by having Mahomes. So just think about that next year in the draft. If you don't get Kelsey, make sure you go get Mahomes at least. Spin up a little bit to cancel that out because that guy's probably going to be in the playoffs. So let's see. Juwan Johnson is Dimboy's is a game ball and anti-game ball to Foster Moreau. He didn't do well at all.
Yeah, he didn't do anything. There was a lot of hype going in for him, but I would still keep firing him up. He's what did I put it on his show notes? Since week 7, he's been played at about 96% of the snaps, and 16.5% target share, although very low in the yardage of like 1.1.
Damn, Frank, you're bringing out target share and snap percentages, dude.
I had to get some stats going today.
Let's go. You're
bringing me just to do tight ends. It's the only one The only thing I covered was tight end.
You're on it. That's what I'm talking about, my guy. Let's go.
So yeah.
Way to go, Frank. That's what's up.
So
Don't get rid of kickers. Get rid of tight ends.
Ball. He only did still anti-game ball, but hey, whatever. It happens. And speaking on tight ends, though, Kyle Pitts done. IR.
Well, we're about to get into that. Hold on. You're trying to let the cat out of the bag already, man. You let the cat out of the bag. So you got on a roll. Now you're ready to just start spitting it all out. He's like, oh, I got it. I'm gonna take tight ends. Yeah, did all this research. So we got Jonathan. Jonathan said, don't get rid of kickers, get rid of tight ends. Worst position in fantasy. A way to kind of help that is to go tight end premium. The problem is that just makes Kelsey and Andrews even better. So it's like you could go tight end premium for everyone who's not Kelsey and Andrews if there's a way to have a setting for that. So that would kind of help out the rest of the tight ends if you could put in a weird thing like that. And then boys are saying, as the filthy fantasy boys say, who cares? It's tight end. Do whatever the fuck you want. And if you don't have Kelsey or Andrews, so yeah, I'm right there with them. Been saying that since the beginning. We just obviously the Filthy Fantasy Show. Shout out to King Josh, Rome, and the Fantasy Fish. We had King Josh with us a couple weeks ago on the Start Sit Show. So make sure you guys go back and check him out. Them boys throw the link to the Filthy, or they're on a podcast, so they're not doing YouTube yet. But yeah, make sure you guys check them out. We'll have them on the show again. But yeah, I mean, it's just like we were saying, man, it's either late or great. And there's no other reason. You're either grabbing Kelsey or Andrews early, or just literally stream tight end, or don't even draft one, or just draft somebody, with your last pick right before you kick your new defense. And if you did that this year, you probably did fine. You didn't subject yourselves to people like Goddard, Schultz, Kyler or Tyler Taylor. What's his name? Kyle Pitts. I don't even know his name because I don't even have him on his team. But we're going to talk about him. You wouldn't subject yourselves to all that using that high draft capital or those middle round draft capital on a tight end position. There's just no reason to do that. So either
people with Waller and Pitts were the only other two up there. Besides.
Yeah, Waller, Pitts, Schultz, like they all just
Schultz, all those three were like done. Yeah,
like you did, and you can't come back from that. You wasted a pick there. You could add somebody else. I mean, you could have missed on that pick, but either way. So Cadillac saying I like Barkley over Stevenson despite his schedule, but the injuries from the O-line kind of concern me. Yeah, so that's what we're talking about. I think he was talking about that trade above.
Yeah, we were talking about that way earlier, and yeah, I'm really concerned about the O-line. I think that's going to hurt Barkley a lot.
Yeah,
and I think Mike can back me up on that because he's like a defensive offensive line type of guy. He always talks about those guys up front.
Yeah, Them Boys is saying he agrees with Jonathan. I'm all for having a wide receiver. He has a typo in there. Wide receiver, tight end, flex spot rather than tight end. So that's another way you can go with that position. But to me, that just you could still get Kelsey because he's still like wide receiver, like probably 3 overall in the year. He has like over 10 touchdowns, 10, 11 touchdowns. But 3 touchdown games, which is insane. And yeah, so if you throw it, versus a wide receiver running back tight end, I would just go wide receiver tight end, and it just makes it a little different. Just so somebody can't just lock up all the running backs and start the running backs in that position. You're either
because that's if you have that kind of position,
4 type guy or a tight end. So they're kind of about the same.
If you weren't really hungry for running backs before, wait till you have that position there, and then you'll see the scarcity even more so.
Yeah,
because now you need 6 guys on your. I mean, Anthony and I already take 6 running backs as it is. Let alone you give us a flex spot like that. I'm gonna take like 8.
For sure. So yeah, so that's my only thing, Jonathan. Don't throw that running back in there. Just go wide receiver, tight end. So, well done, Dim Boys. Appreciate you. See, it's nice when we have the OG in there.
Sure.
Yep.
And then we went back to the Justin Jackson thing.
Yeah, so he says if I do the Stevenson Debo trade, the guys wide receivers would be Lamb, Lockett, Debo, and his running backs would be Eckler, Stevenson, Monty, Zeke. Since I'm not really starting Debo, I don't know if that's really upgrading his team. Personally, I think it is because
you never worry about anybody else's team when I do a trade. I worry about what I get.
True. But in this case, like if you really want Barkley, go get Barkley, bro. Like if you have that opportunity and that's the guy you want to root for and you feel like that's going to help your team, then go get him. Like my whole thing is just if you are like maybe get something else with Barkley and some kind of receiver, like maybe you can get Pickens, Watson, somebody else like that he might have on his team. So at least you're 2 for 2. my whole thing is I'd rather have the extra wide receiver that I can count on. Should one of my other wide receivers go down in the playoffs, I could just bloop, pick Debo back up there. I don't think the difference between Stevenson and Barkley is that great compared to giving up an entire other player just to get Barkley. If this was 3 weeks ago, then yes, I would do it. But where you're at now, having a little bit more hindsight, I just think paying Stevenson and Debo is a little too much, especially knowing Ty Montgomery's not coming back. He's done for the year. Damian Harris is back healthy, but he's not really making a dent, into Stevenson's production. And he has that passing game, upside or, which increases his floor. Again, Barkley has it too. We'll just kind of see. Again, it could go the other way. Like maybe they work him more as a receiver because they have no other receivers right now. So you could very well be right. But more importantly, as we always say here, man, go get your guy. Like if that's who you want, like go get him. Like if you're not feeling Stevenson and you're not feeling Debo and you feel like you're fine without him, who cares what we say or like what the trade chart or trade values say or what other people think? It's you and your team. So go get it done, man. Making a trade happen is awesome. And you never know what could happen. Debo and Stevenson can go down next week, and now you got Barkley, and it's somebody. So there's always, those type of things as well. So there you go.
That seems to happen after a trade often.
Someone's going to go down, it seems like. Olave made Ramsey look like burnt toast all day. He's his offensive rookie of the year. We'll be doing our, year-long awards like this here pretty soon as we kind of get, a little bit closer to the end of the season. We'll probably do it heading into playoff week, especially once trades and stuff are done. We try to find things to do with that roster management show since there's no more trades. So we'll definitely be giving out our awards. Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player, MVP, all that kind of stuff. So Jonathan saying Olave gets his game ball. We're only 10 minutes behind on chats. Awesome.
I'm just saying, Micah Parsons.
Micah Parsons, yeah. I called that a couple weeks ago too. Everyone's kind of like, "What, really?" And now they're all coming back again on it. So
yeah, for sure, dude. Don't get away from that guy.
Yeah. So they're all kind of just talking in there. That's good stuff. Let's see. It's talking about the suplex again. Play call. They need double points. They need to double the points if they're not.
I like the stat. Hold on. I like the stat he put up right here. The Saints scored a touchdown on something like 70% of the drives that Taysom has at least 2 touches. They should force him.
I can't wait till you have your show here on our channel, man, because these are the kind of stats we need. And this is what Dim Boy's channel is going to be. So I can't wait for the next year.
This is why I like Taysom, because he has a nose for the end zone. He's like the way I look at.
He's not saying Taysom scores. He's saying the Saints score when he touches the ball at least 2 times.
Yes, I understand that. However, I'm saying I look at Taysom like I look at McCaffrey. He's just one of those kind of guys that just has moves. He's speedy. He's elusive. He has a nose for the end zone. That's all I got to say about that.
I won't let you.
I just
that.
like.
That's blasphemy.
I don't.
We're not putting Taysom in CMC category, but I'll give you he's interesting to watch. I'll give you that.
I'm not saying the same category. I'm saying style wise.
You mentioned him in the same sentence. We're not going there yet. We're not going there quite yet. We're not going there yet, dude. We're talking about like the guy just went like fantasy 101 like a year ago. Taysom's not going to go 101 ever.
Oh no, I'm not saying that.
I'm just saying that. So we can't put him in the same. Pick another guy.
I'm not. You're not understand what I'm saying. I'll move on.
Oh, I understand. No I understand. I'm just not letting you get away with it. Dim Boy says, "Here's the filthy fantasy shows Spotify link." So there it is. Make sure you guys go check it out, man. It's an awesome show. Instead of winners and losers like we're doing here, they do stinks and pinks. So it's just it's raunchy fun. If you guys are into that kind of thing, it's for the adults. It's after hours. Don't let your kids listen to it. So there you go. All right, man. Maybe we can do that against the Niners this week. Sorry, Jonathan. We're not friends this week, my guy. I mean, we're still friends, but not on the football field. Like I will not be rooting for the Saints at all or anyone on their team. It'll be just like I was rooting for the Vikings last week, or not rooting for them. So there you go. Taysom Hill's not 101. What? See, you got some people agreeing with you.
He knows what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's a 101, man. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that.
He's going to this question. So maybe if I had another wide receiver like A-Rob or Garrett Wilson on my side, can I get Lockett I can get Lockett or Gabe Davis. So you're gonna Debo plus A-Rob and Garrett Wilson, which I don't care. Those are just guys are pretty much droppable to me at this point. And if you could get Lockett or Gabe Davis back, so you're getting Barkley and Lockett or Gabe Davis, which I'd go Lockett first and then Gabe Davis, even though we're giving away our Gabe Davis jersey. I do like Lockett a little better. And all you have to do is throw an A-Rob or Garrett Wilson all day. I would throw an A-Rob first. I'd rather keep Wilson just to see what happens if they put Flacco in. So that's where I'm at on that one. But like I said, man, go get your guy. Like if you want it, go get him, man. But I would definitely like 3 for 2 seems better than that 2 for 1 though. So I feel like you're getting a little bit better situation there.
It was getting a little lopsided right there.
Yeah, it was just a little off. That definitely evens it up a little bit. Kind of just turns one of your empty roster spots into something actually a little more useful. Because then you'd have to go on the wire and pick up someone worse than A-Rob or Garrett Wilson right now if you got rid of Debo. So I'd much rather have Lockett or Gabe Davis in return. So good stuff. Dimboy says he's taking Taysom 101 next year, at least in one league. For Frank.
That's what I'm talking about.
There you go.
Dude, in the Scott Fishbowl League where the tight ends matter so much, so then it won't be
maybe
so bad,
there.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe there. Especially if they move on from Andy Dalton, right?
Right? Hey,
go back to the Taysom Hill experiment.
Dude, I'm telling you, dude, they should.
I
just love it. I just like his usability, dude. I like a slash player, I guess.
I like it, man. Like we said, dude, that's what fantasy football is about, man. Root for your guys, and that's what makes it awesome. All right, man. So we'll get into this. We'll get through some of the news and notes here. We'll kind of recap our waiver wire guys we've been kind of mentioning here and some other new ones we haven't mentioned. And then we'll try to get out of here.
One year. It's terrible.
Anyways,
so let's finish it up.
There we go. So we'll speed through this here, man. So for those of you guys who didn't hear, obviously Kyler Murray didn't play tonight. They're saying they might actually hold him out until after their week 13 bye. So he may not come back until week 14. So just depending on his injury heals, they're saying they want to give him some extra time. So looks like it might be the Colt McCoy show for a little while, which is interesting. If that makes a difference on guys like D-Hop, maybe you can go buy D-Hop a little low if your trade deadline hasn't passed yet. So just kind of keep your eye on that. Obviously, Rondale Moore hurt his groin tonight too in this game. So add Greg Dortch to the waiver wire list as well.
He had a nice run tonight.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Remember, he was the hot thing for a while, a couple weeks there for a while. So there you go. Yeah, that was good. Yeah. So we obviously talked about it a lot here during the show, the whole Justin Fields situation. So we won't go too much more into that. But obviously, like we're talking about, they're saying anywhere from day to day to potentially being season ending at this point or somewhere in between. So definitely we'll get more information as the week goes on. Matt Stafford dealing with he's being evaluated for a possible entry into the concussion protocol. Apparently he's not in the protocol yet. Maybe they're waiting until Tuesday like he went in the protocol last week. Maybe it's just something they do in LA. I don't know. But either way, it's a very interesting situation. I doubt he plays again this week, which would make, A-Rob, Tyler Higbee, all these guys, I don't think they can play him. They're pretty much out of it anyway. Their whole team's hurt. Cooper Kupp's out 6 to 8 weeks minimally. Maybe a chance to come back if they make the playoffs. But I doubt it.
No reason. Your guy, your season's over, dude. Let it go.
Just come back next year. As a Niners fan, that's what I would want as well too. So there you go. We kind of talked about it here. Saleh said they're keeping everything on the table right now in terms of who the starting quarterback will be for the New York Jets this Sunday. So they didn't commit to Zach Wilson. Could be Joe Flacco, could be the Mike White experience. Again, so maybe an opportunity there to pick up your Garrett Wilsons, your Elijah Moores if they are sitting out there. Michael Carter, James Robinson. We know those guys target the running backs. It was definitely a bad game this week, but if they change things up, have a different quarterback, we've seen how this team was on a roll with Flacco at the helm. So you never know. And for those super flex leagues out there, maybe you might want to spend a little waiver action on Flacco or Mike White, depending on who they may turn it over to, because they're in the thick of it still. They're not out of the playoff run at all.
Not out.
So that's why they're considering doing something like this versus working on developing Wilson
going
more.
Back to Flacco.
Yeah, I think that knee injury he suffered in the preseason just set him back too much. They got on a roll. they try to kind of squeeze him back in, didn't get the practice time he needed with timing, things like that. Corey Davis has been hurt. He should be coming back here soon. So we'll see what happens there in New York. And more quarterback news. Steve Wilkes says he doesn't know who the starting quarterback's going to be either. So will it be Baker Mayfield? Will it be maybe Sam Darnold if they activate him? PJ Walker's still dealing with that high ankle sprain there in Carolina, so it's not going to be him. So to me, it's going to be between Baker and Sam Darnold at this point. As a DJ Moore owner, give me something different. Like I'll take a chance with Sam Darnold again. At least DJ Moore put up points with Sam Darnold last year. So bring him on. Anything's better than Baker at this point, sadly. Baker's going to be just a backup quarterback, if that. Like, if he can go into that role, like I think that's all he can be. Unfortunately, moving forward, I think his starting days are over. Let's see.
Cordell Stewart reincarnated. He hate me.
There you go. The original snap. The original snap slash player.
Yeah.
The original slash player. All right. So in running back news, running back Chase Edmonds, he suffered a high ankle sprain early in Sunday's game. He's expected to miss a few weeks. They obviously parted with Melvin Gordon earlier, so that means Latavius Murray. Should be a hot waiver ad this week. Yep. I think they still have Mike Boone there as well too. So if you miss out on Latavius Murray, maybe you can get a shot at Mike Boone. I believe they're the only two running backs even available there right now.
That even happened. Remember, it was like a whole thing. Is like Gordon and Boone, and he didn't even see the field. I don't remember him like one or two touches.
Yeah, because they were still dealing with the whole Gordon thing. I mean, he had actually a good game. Everyone thought he might be the guy. Yeah. He was like more the third down guy. Then it just all went weird over there.
All went to nothing.
Yeah, but Latavius Murray, I think he finished top 10 in running backs. Yeah, so definitely take a shot on him. Getting a running back this late in the season is definitely worth it. And if you feel like you want to stash Edmonds at least to see if they give him an opportunity, considering they did sign him once he was let go in Miami, you can have an opportunity with him there. Another running back news, Andy Reid says Clyde Edwards-Helaire also has a high ankle sprain. So we all saw him go down. So he's definitely going to be out for a few weeks. So that means Isaiah Pacheco, who's coming off a 100-yard game. It was against the Chargers, so let's not freak out. I think crazy. Frank and I can probably run for 100 yards against the Chargers. Just saying. But he still did it, which is nice to see. And so just keep an eye on that. Jerick McKinnon, who I thought actually would have a good game this game against the Chargers.
Yeah.
Didn't so much, ended up having a fumble. Did still lead them as far as receptions go. Yeah. So it wasn't great, but we'll see with Edwards-Helaire completely out. Could be an opportunity for those guys, and let alone if Pacheco goes down, McKinnon's the only one left. So definitely think they're both worth rostering at this point.
Get a quick shout out to Drunk Squidward.
There you go. Squidward, what's up, man?
I'm single-handedly lost to the Cowboys defense. Yeah.
There you go. Face palming it and everything. Face palming it and everything. There you go.
Welcome back. Yeah. What's up, man?
Appreciate it, man. We're just going through our news and notes right now, and we'll kind of wrap up with whatever guys I don't mention here as we're going through the notes. So
wire guys mentioning.
Exactly. So we got running back Darrell Henderson. It's kind of interesting. He started the game, only had like 4 snaps or something like that. Weird. Then we didn't see him anymore. We weren't sure if it was, based on production. Did he get hurt? Like no one really saw anything. Came out today that Hendo said he felt a little something in his knee before the game. So basically that opened up the door for Cam Akers and Kyron Williams to handle the workload. But pretty much I'm staying away from anyone in the Rams offense. Let somebody else use their FAAB and their waiver spot or their waiver claim on these guys. I'm personally not touching any of this Rams offense at this point. That's just me.
Yeah. Now that the quarterback went down as well, and the whole situation they got going over there with the Rams, I was hoping Kyron Williams would come in and do something there, but it's just garbage. It's all garbage over
there. Yeah. What else we got? Running back news. Joe Mixon, as we talked about kind of earlier in the show, dealing with that concussion, meaning Samaje Perine, who finished as the RB2, is going to be a hot waiver ad. He's one of the ones where I wouldn't blow a ton of FAAB, or if you only have a little bit of FAAB left, I'm not spending too much on it.
Yeah, he might be good
unless
for
you're
one
maybe
game,
the Mixon owner. Yeah, because you might only get him for one game. You may not even get him for one game. But I think as the Mixon owner, you probably want to have this guy heading into the playoffs on your bench, just in case something were to happen. If it happens mid-game in the playoffs, you hope that you can actually win in advance. And if you do advance, you'd want to have somebody be able to start that next week and not have to be battling it out with someone who's probably just trying to block you on the wire. So, Perine's definitely worth getting on your roster.
Make sure you lock out teams not in the playoffs.
Yeah, don't be trading. If your teams are in the playoffs, don't be trading. And it's kind of unwritten rule to not be even using waiver claims or FAAB for teams that are pretty much out of the playoffs. So those guys shouldn't be.
I locked them out this year just not to have to deal with it.
Unless there's a last place punishment. If there's a last place punishment and those guys are trying to battle to not stay, to stay out of last place.
I get what you're saying, but they're
screw those other guys. Yeah, screw those other guys. At first, I'm not wearing a T-shirt or a license plate or doing anything stupid, so I'm not getting in last place. But yeah, so knock on wood, I hope to not be in that position anytime soon. Make sure you come draft with us on Friday Night Mocks all the off season, and you won't be in last place.
I think next year we gotta get the guy to wear the T-shirt at a restaurant for an hour. Like go out to maybe a fancy place, even not a Denny's or something.
Right. Swear it out in public. Should have to get people to sign it or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll work on our last place punishment. That'd be good. All right. So another running back news here. We got Gus Edwards. They're saying John Harbaugh saying that they're hopeful that he could return. He's been dealing with his knee, of course, and dealing more recently with the hamstring. Same thing with Deshaun Jackson. They're hoping both these guys will be back this week. So just keep an eye on that. We talked about Mike Williams moving on to wide receivers now, re-aggravating his ankle. They're saying it doesn't seem like it's significant. Typically, high ankle sprains are usually 4 to 6 weeks. I think he came back after 3. So to me, that was too early. Like, I was surprised. I thought he was going to be inactive, honestly. But obviously, it was a big game, AFC game, division game going against the Chiefs. They knew they needed him. And he just kind of went out
him
early.
And Allen together. And all that.
He went out early. Good thing Palmer stepped up. I think the way Palmer showed out, though, they'll probably sit him for a game or two until he's, totally back. Or at least if they're, on the cusp of, losing a playoff spot, then he may kind of rush it back. But other than that, there you go. Drunk Squidward saying Joe Mixon looked fine after the game. Yeah, it was a concussion, so I'm sure he was fine. It's not like you're on crutches if you have a concussion. So
I'm Batman.
Yeah, yeah. So big time news. We did talk about it earlier. Wan'Dale Robinson tears ACL, so he's obviously done for the year. Based on the timing, he's probably going to miss all of training camp and all that stuff, and might even seep into the beginning part of next year. So just kind of just try to remember this name. He probably won't go drafted, but he could be somebody, after the draft, you can kind of just pick up, throw in your IR spot, and see what happens, because he seemed to start flashing here before, he went down. So we'll see what happens. Other wide receiver news, Kadarius Toney. All the Toney truthers out there got all crazy. He scored his touchdown. They threw him all in the lineup, traded for him, and he goes out with a hamstring injury. I think all the Giants fans are laughing at all the Kansas City fans now. Now you get to deal with Kadarius Toney's hamstrings. So hopefully he doesn't pull the other one like he did with the Giants. I think
that's all like straight up karma, because they were saying, no, he didn't have hamstrings. Remember you were saying,
yeah,
he's not injured.
It's like, oh, he's really miraculously healed
fine,
now.
Yeah, and I was like, look at this. Now look at him.
Now he's
whatever.
Now he's hamstringed out again. So I don't know what's going on.
That one good game, and now he lost me. He lost my game against.
Cost you the game.
Yeah, he cost me the game against Dustin here.
Ooh, there you go. Yeah. Get right crime right there.
Right there, yeah. It was him. He scored me a fat 0. Had he scored me something, I probably would have won the game still.
Yeah. Yep. Moving on, we got some news out of Cincinnati. Jamar Chase. They're saying he ditched his crutches. They look like they are planning to Have him back at practice this week. They're saying everything has gone according to plan, no setbacks. So they're going to start ramping him up and seeing how he is. And so there's a chance us Jamar Chase owners might have Chase back this week. So personally, I say sit him one more week. I don't need him. I've been doing okay without him. I just want to make sure he's here for the playoffs. Like, give me 1 or 2 games, like 13, 14. Like, I want to see him back and looking good. And, roll right into the playoffs with Chase. So give me one more week. I don't want to see him. I'd rather see him practice for 2 weeks before he goes out and tries to start getting tackled and all that kind of stuff. So
come back too early, get injured again, and then
and then just be and could be like a long term, and we know these hip injuries, man, cost people. Percy Harvin, Fitz Magic, who else? Bo Jackson. I mean, there's a ton of guys that have basically hip injury was that season-ending injury. It just doesn't seem to be like those, but you never know, man. So, just one more week, please, Cincinnati. Don't rush him back. T. Higgins is a beast. Tyler Boyd, use him. Get through it. Just get through it. So there it is. And last but not least, my guy, Jameson Williams. They're opening up his 21-day window coming off IR. So they're expecting him to practice this week. Apparently he was going to be part of the walkthrough today. So I'm interested to see how that progresses towards Thursday. They were saying that's the reason why they didn't actually bring him back last week, because they didn't want him to play last week and then, come and have a quick, turnaround to a Thursday game. But we'll see. To me, he's one of the most exciting players that hasn't played yet. I'm dying to see, what this guy looks like on an NFL field. I want to see if he still has that speed, after this ACL. And just for you guys, who know, he's basically one of the top 3 fastest guys in the league. Him, Tyreek, and Jalen Waddle are the 3 fastest guys in the NFL, from what I understand, at the wide receiver position. And Waddle and Tyreek Hill are like 5'10", 5'11", and this dude's 6'6", 6'1" with this speed. So just keep an eye on this guy. If you can throw him in an IR spot for now, get him. And like them boys is saying here, they expect him to play probably most likely in December. They're not really playing for too much. So I don't think they're going to rush him back, but he is looking like he will start practicing this week. But it'll probably be like, Jamar Chase, or not Jamar Chase, but Chase Young. They have that 21-day activation window.
Yeah.
They'll probably say, oh, he's been practicing, but he's not ready yet. Oh, he's practicing, but he's not ready yet. And like the boys said,
he is
December.
About 96% owned on Sleeper, on Yahoo 22%, and ESPN 17%. So outside of Sleeper, you probably have an opportunity to pick him up now and put him in your IR spot or whatnot. And Anthony has a lot of high hopes for this guy. So, he's.
I mean, I'm just dying at wide receiver.
Obviously,
so
Sleeper's not sleeping on him.
There.
But I've been looking at these percentage numbers, and Sleeper's a lot higher. I'm not. Maybe they have more dynasty leagues than Sleeper. What's the deal?
It's the dynasty leagues. Yeah, that's why on these kind of rookies and stuff like that, because of all the dynasty leagues they have, that's why their ownership percentages are
a little bit
higher
off, right?
on these
They're
guys.
Like higher. So I'm like,
and it's just shout out to the Sleeper community, man. Shout out to the Sleeper community. Sleepers for like the degenerates, man. Like Yahoo and these other leagues are for the office leagues and the funds, the fun leagues.
I think that throws off the stats, though. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I think it's just lets you know where they're at. So, Dim Boys is saying, what do you mean they're not playing for much? They have the longest winning streak in the NFC right now. Does Detroit? Are they really? I don't follow Detroit, so I don't even know. I trust you if you're saying they're in it right now. The longest winning streak in the NFC. Are they really? What the hell's their record? Get on that for me real quick.
I got
They're making a Bengal style Super Bowl run. Let's go then. Shout out to Detroit. Things are better when Detroit's good. That's what's up. It should make Thursday game a lot more interesting. All right.
Oh yeah.
So
they usually have a terrible Thanksgiving game. Honestly.
Yeah, it's usually awful. Yeah. The only thing, remember, like a couple years back, everyone's just like making sure they lost so they can keep when they're on their 0-16 season. Like that was the only thing people were watching for, is to make sure they lost to keep extending that 0-16.
They're 4 wins, 6 losses, 400%.
It might be
second
there.
place behind Minnesota 8-2, They're beating the Packers at 4-7 and Bears at 3-8.
I guess so, huh? It's not bad. It's
What do you mean not
literally
bad?
up in
They're
the
under
air.
500.
Well, no, I'm just saying they're in it. Like they're in it.
Oh
Like there's a
yeah,
lot of people who might make the playoffs this year with a losing record. Like they might not
yeah.
even be 500, and
They do
they're
have
gonna
a
get in.
3-game win streak, and shout out to all those experts that said the NFC East was the worst and blah blah blah, and that's the only division that has every team above 500. So
I know, right? The Giants are
goes
frauds,
to
though.
show, just goes to show what
Giants are frauds.
they know. Yeah, but they're the fake 7-3 right now.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so it's a 3-game winning streak. It was Minnesota, but them boys is my boys. Took care of it. Your guy, use boys, use boys took care of that. All right. So, and the only tight end news we have, man, you were about to mention it earlier, so I'll let you tell this one. You can let the cat out of the bag.
Oh yeah. Kyle Pitts done for the year. I was even looking at it. Honestly, I was like, who's the backup over there? Who is there? Somebody worth picking up? I don't recognize any of the names, and you never know. It'd be the next man up, but not for me. It's just unfortunate. He maybe had one or two good games where he actually scored a touchdown, did decent for
Even though he got hurt
somebody.
in this game, I think he led the team in receiving, but
Yeah,
it wasn't much.
yeah, it wasn't.
I mean, that's the
Yeah,
problem.
yeah, it
This
wasn't
is
much
not a
at all
throwing
there.
team. Yeah,
Yeah,
their quarterback runs and their two running backs run, and then I mean, at least Drake London scored a touchdown this week. I mean, I think he's good. It's just they need a different quarterback, but they're right in it, so they're not going to move off of Mariota while they still have an opportunity to make the playoffs. So the
five
Desmond Ritter experience will have to be continued.
5 targets, 3 receptions, 43 yards.
Yikes.
Yeah,
Yikes, yikes,
that's
yikes.
not that much going over there.
So yeah,
Seven,
so that pretty much
7.3 points.
there you go. Pretty much wraps up our news and notes there for a Monday. Of course, we'll have more information on Wednesday, which we'll be doing pretty much start sit for the Thanksgiving games. We'll kind of make it our little Thanksgiving show, if you will. I think I'm still going to do a Friday show on Black Friday right after Thanksgiving, so we'll probably still do a Friday show, do our start sits, or we might just have one big show Wednesday. We're still trying to figure that out, Mike and I. So we'll let you guys know what we're going to do there. But yeah. So that's it. So you want to kind of just recap some of the guys we have on waiver here, and we'll get the heck out of here.
Yeah. So let's look at the top waiver wire ads. Is quarterback? It's either Joe Flacco or Mike White for the New York Jets. Definitely the top running back
They
waiver
have
wire
one of the
ad is
easiest quarterback schedules
coming
remaining.
forward, right? Yeah,
So
and
that's
they're not doing
why
too
there's
bad.
some interest there. Mainly in super flex leagues. You're not really going after these guys in one QB leagues.
So these guys are having an actual opportunity. I mean, they're at 6-4. The Patriots are 6-4. The Bills and Dolphins are both 7-3. So they're only really one game back from being there, being in the. I mean, they're in the mix. They're not doing that
They're right
bad.
in
I
it.
mean, they're
Yeah.
yeah, they're
They
right
have a
in it. They're
chance to
over.
win the division still. Like they're
Yeah,
not just in the
they're
mix to
literally
make the playoffs. Like they have a
yeah,
chance to win the division.
exactly. So there's something there. So worth looking at those guys, especially if you have like a Justin Fields go down or somebody else that could have been on your team that you needed to replace. There's no bye weeks this week, so no bye week situation.
Yeah.
Second guy that needs to be taken up again is Samaje Perine. Again, he might be only good for 1 week because Mixon might be back due to that concussion situation. But as Anthony mentioned, definitely worth a handcuff if you do have Mixon, especially going forward into the playoff situation. And lastly, Isaiah Pacheco, because CEH went down. Another guy who benefited from that had his first 107-yard game, 100-yard game with KC. So I like him. Obviously, anybody who's on a KC there has an opportunity to get multiple touchdowns in a week, maybe one or multiple or none in this case. But he still got 107 yards. So definitely some of those
First
guys that you
100-yard
might be looking
rusher
at.
since week 4 of 2021.
Yeah. See, look, there you go. And I remember there was something going on with that because I was like, they were like, this doesn't happen very often for Casey.
Crazy.
And that's good. I mean,
Yeah.
that's somebody to go and grab and pick up and have him on there. Gus Edwards coming back as well. Did not play, but should be back week 12. He's still only 60% on ESPN, 46% on 60% Yahoo, 46% on ESPN. Sleeper's 91 because, as I mentioned, Sleeper always has a high percentage on that being owned. But he's definitely somebody who might be out there on the waiver wire for you guys. Should we continue with some of these other guys or no? I
Yeah,
don't
go
know if
ahead,
these
man.
other guys really
I'm done
matter.
listening to myself talk. You got
All right,
this one. I read off all the
perfect.
news and notes. Go ahead.
You
You did all the
off the
work on
last
this
guys.
one, putting those percentages in there. So yeah, go ahead.
We got Cam Akers,
Or did you
over
forget
there.
Lat Murray? Did you forget Latavius Murray? Did you mention? Or I
No,
mean, we kind of talked about him
I
earlier, but
mentioned
yeah.
Latavius Murray as number one waiver wire.
Okay,
Mention that real quick. But then we talked about the quarterbacks again. But yeah, just to
well done.
recap again, Latavius Murray, Yahoo 23% owned, ESPN 34, 70% on Sleeper. So even on Sleeper, it's a little slightly on the low side. So he's definitely widely available out there in leagues. Definitely the number one waiver wire pickup, especially since they let go of Melvin Gordon, and the only other guy that they have over there is Chase Edmonds. So
Yeah.
and
I
Mike
like him
Boone,
over
right?
P Ryan
Mike Boone,
because it's more of a long term
long term, yeah, long term game.
opportunity versus potentially just 1 week. So
Oh yeah, yeah, and I would slide up
Pacheco
Isaiah
too.
Pacheco aside above P Ryan because he
I
might
would actually
actually
put
earn.
Edwards. Actually, to me, it's a more run heavy offense. So that would be my order. It'd be Lat Murray, Gus Edwards, Pacheco, and then P Ryan.
Memory, Gus Edwards,
Pacheco, and then P Ryan.
Ryan.
That would be
I can
my
see, I
order.
can see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I just worry about Gus though because he's been just hurt. You know what I mean? Like coming in there doesn't seem like he's gonna be like 100%. Because didn't he come back already once and then went back out?
Hamstring. I mean, it happens.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I don't know. Hammy's worry
It's coming back
concern
off
me.
that ACL. Usually the hamstring follows. Same thing happened with Godwin, but after he rested, came back, worked out. Now he's back. He hasn't missed again. And he's starting to regain his form.
Strengthen it
So
up. Yeah,
yeah.
go do some workouts. Yeah,
And Drake's Drake. So they're gonna give the touches back to
yeah.
Gus
Drake
Edwards
was
once
like
he's ready.
a dud this last week anyway. So
All
it's always
Baltimore
hit
was
and
a
miss
dud.
with that
Yeah,
guy. Yeah, yeah. The whole team's
it
just
was a
like even
bad week.
even yeah even Lamar had a bad week. So I mean it is
Yeah.
what it is. Yeah, Cam Akers, so we could drop down to him. Again, a running back with the Los Angeles Rams, somebody that we really don't really care about too much. Um, and
He's just available.
yeah,
He
he's
might be there.
available. He's out there. If you need somebody, you can plug and play. Hopefully, see what happens. Isaiah Spiller, running back for Los Angeles Chargers, only 4% owned on Yahoo, 2% on ESPN, 87% on Sleeper. He had 4 targets, 11 yards, and 2 receiving targets for 11 yards as well. Four rushing attempts. So he's getting some touches over there at the Chargers, and I think he's the only really
And
guy that's
should
doing it.
anything happen to Eckler, he's going to be the
Yeah.
RB1 there.
Yeah, he's like more of a handcuff situation, definitely. I think you also got Tristan Ebner as a handcuff as well over in
Yep.
Chicago, right?
Yep.
Because we who just went down? David Montgomery? Didn't David Montgomery get hurt? And
No,
then
no,
we back to Khalil Herbert.
Khalil Herbert. Yeah.
Herbert went. I knew one of the two went down. I can remember. Also injured as well. Now we're moving into the wide receivers. The guy that I didn't start that I should have started this week, Demarcus Robinson, wide receiver for Baltimore, 4% on owned on Yahoo, 1% on ESPN, and 48% on Sleeper. So this guy's really being slept on. Who was it? Help me out. That got hurt already. That's out for the year over there.
Bateman.
Shad Bateman, and they were out of out
Hollywood
Mark
Brown.
Andrews. Mark
Or
Andrews.
Andrews. Yeah.
Andrews was also down for a week there, but he's coming back. But he had a
Yeah.
pretty decent
He went
game.
6 for 63.
Yeah, nine targets,
Andrews
9
did.
receptions. Yeah, Andrews did. But he went for 9 targets, 9 receptions, 128 yards. So he
Mm-hmm.
cleared the 100-yard mark. Donovan People
9
Jones.
catches.
Yeah, 9 catches. That was pretty good. Pretty good target around. 9 receptions, 9 targets. So that's good. 100%. Donovan People Jones, wide receiver Cleveland. He's been getting some whispers and talking about
This
the
dude
last
needs to
couple of
be on your
weeks.
team. If
Yeah,
he's out there, go get him.
yeah, and he's 45% owned on Yahoo, 38% ESPN, 90% Sleeper. He had 6 targets, 5 receptions, 61 yards, and a TD. And I think this is the third week in a row, or at least. And I know there's been a lot of talk about Donovan Peoples Jones. Seems to be the only guy over there
Mm-hmm.
doing something for
And you got
Cleveland.
Deshaun Watson coming back, so it should increase his ceiling even more.
Ooh, there's gonna be some things happening for him. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I picked up Deshaun, but I might have to drop Fields
Defensive
and pick.
Deshaun? You picked up Deshaun?
Oh man, I'm telling you,
No.
I was hurting their wide quarterback, man.
Well,
Sometimes you
see,
got to
you're
do what
just
you
saying
got to
don't
do.
draft him. If you're gonna,
Yeah,
pick him
I
up
never
off the
said draft
wire
him.
in
I was just like, yeah.
week 11, I mean, I guess that's
Then
okay.
you're fine at that point. It didn't hurt your draft capital any. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, yeah, you didn't hold on to this guy for months and months and months. I mean, come on.
there you go.
Darius Slayton with the New York Giants, another good game. I think this is the second or third game in a row. At least I think it's the third third game in a row. He's putting up some decent numbers over there. There's really nobody else over there in the Giants other than I think
Kenny
Kenny
Galladay.
Galladay's got him back, but
I think
Kelly
somebody
Galladay,
named Kennedy. I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know.
he got 2 for 2 for 29, but I'd rather have Darius Slayton 10 targets, 5 receptions, 86 yards. Probably the only guy in the Giants that I would even consider holding as far as the wide receiving core.
Since week 4, Darius Slayton put up 2.3, 13.9, 2.8, 14.8, 11.6, 18.5, 13.6. So he's a nice wide receiver 3.
Yeah. He's got
Borderline
some
wide
points.
receiver
He's got some
2.
numbers, you know. Get you some help here and there in each week.
If you're hurting.
Yeah. Randall Cobb. There's a signing of Randall Cobb. I'm not sure if I would trust him going forward. As I mentioned, I think we were talking about him earlier. Watson, and I would rather have Watson if he's still available in your league. I think he's more of the guy that's taken over that role over there at Green Bay. But however,
he's just
there's
deep. If you need somebody maybe like really, really deep is Randall Cobb. I just kind of threw him on there because he had a decent game.
He had a decent game, right? I know what you're saying. Sky Moore, hey, he was a drafted rookie here earlier in the season. Did nothing for a while. Finally has some flashes. 6 targets for 5 receptions, 63 yards. Very low ownership percentage on Yahoo 6, ESPN 16%. Sleeper's very high, but again, because he's a rookie and we were talking about these keeper leagues, so that's why dynasty stuff is going on over there. So it kind of throws it off. But again, deep leagues and somebody who wants to take a look at Greg Dortch with the wide receiver for Arizona. I forgot the line that he had tonight. I don't think we actually came.
He went over 100 yards tonight. Yeah.
Yeah. And he, it's a sighting from him. I think he had in week 2 and 3, he had some good games, then faded away. But now he's back again. I think Rondell Moore is the one.
Yeah, Rondell Moore went out.
Moore got hurt. Yeah, so that's why he had the opportunity. I'm not sure how long he's going to be out. But if he stays out, Greg Dortch is the next man up over there.
Yep.
Excuse me. Nico Collins, like him, also another rookie wide receiver, Houston.
Starting to take over as the one.
Yeah, 7 targets,
they're
5
moving away from
48 yards. Yeah, they're finally doing it. Nico Collins has been pretty solid.
Mills has just been awful lately, man. There's just no way around it. He's just looked terrible.
Yeah, that long neck is not helping him see over the receiver.
No, it's not.
So, 27% owned on Yahoo, 11% on ESPN for him. So definitely widely available for Nico Collins. Again, a lot of these guys are, in need of, or if your guy went down, like Mike Williams, Kadarius Toney, some of these other guys are just injured and whatnot. I mean, and
guys to keep an eye on. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's definitely somebody that you could throw on the bench for later in the year. See what happens. Kenny Galladay, I wouldn't want him. Anthony threw him on here.
Now with the 10-foot pole, just had to do the research, man.
Yeah,
had to get him there.
Yeah,
just because of all the injuries, he's maybe has an opportunity to catch some balls there.
Yeah, Elijah Moore, we'll see what he does over there at the Jets. Hopefully, the quarterback change helps his situation.
Yep.
Gets 4 targets, 2 receptions, 17 yards right now, as well as Garrett Wilson, another guy who may get improvements. Again, we were talking about the Jets are still in it, and the quarterback change may help both of these guys. You know what I mean? They're still not out of it. We were just talking about the positions that they're in as far as the teams being able to make the playoffs or even win the division. So these guys are still fighting for spots and wins. So they're definitely somebody you could pick up. But Garrett Wilson's more widely owned at 73 in Yahoo, 73% in Yahoo, 81% in ESPN versus Elijah Moore at 25% in Yahoo and ESPN 34%. So Elijah Moore probably a little bit more widely available for you. And then the last guy that we have on here for the list of the wide receivers, Johan Dotson. Been talking about him as a wide receiver in Washington. I think it's to his benefit to have help me out. What's his name?
Scary Terry.
Not Scary Terry.
Curtis Samuel.
The quarterback.
Oh, Heineke.
Heineke. Yes, Heineke. Better back there than over Wentz. For whatever reason, I think they have a better connection than when Wentz is there. So I think he's going to have some better days ahead.
Actually,
of him.
Dotson was actually feasting when Wentz was there. And it was Scary Terry that wasn't really doing much. Heineke came in, Terry started balling, but Johan was hurt the whole time. His first game with Heineke was last week. He only went, 2 2 catches, 1 catch for 13 yards, which is unfortunate. But I think he's working his way back.
Yeah.
From that hamstring. So, hopefully, I just think he has the talent to, make a run there at the end. And Washington's kind of coming up right now. So
he's
I
a
would,
good,
see them boys.
yeah, he's a
Them
good
boys
guy to
got my
be
back.
picking it up. Yeah, no, he's a good guy to have, definitely.
Yeah, he shouldn't be on the wire. That's what I'm saying. So make sure he's on your bench.
And last but not least, we have the tight ends here. Jawan Johnson, tight end for New Orleans, 30% owned on Yahoo, 19% on ESPN. The last games, as I mentioned earlier, he's had fantasy points 10 points, 10 points, 11 points, 1 touchdown each game. Prior to that, 2 weeks ago, he had a 2 touchdown game. And it seems to be the way of the future over there. I still tell Taysom Hill still getting his, worked in plays or designed plays for that guy, so he's still going to get something. And we mentioned Foster Moreau, though he threw up a bit dud this last game, but he's still 96% of the snap shares and getting at least 16%, 16.5% of the target share. So somebody can still be looking at over there and tight end in Las Vegas. Although I'd rather have Jawan Johnson. He seems like a safer floor
Agreed.
there.
Even though I have started Foster Moreau this year, but we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that. So getting back to your question here, Squidward, man, we always try to get to all the questions I did see here, but we're just trying to get through our stuff here. We just passed the 2-hour mark, so we'll try to wrap this up. What are your guys' thoughts on trade? What's your guys' thoughts? I traded Kareem Hunt and I know it went pretty fast. It didn't seem like a 2-hour show.
No.
What are your guys' thoughts? I traded Kareem Hunt and Josh Palmer, and Terrace Marshall for Zeke and Rondale Moore.
Oh.
So, it's a little tough, obviously, with Rondale Moore getting hurt. But it is a groin, which could be finicky, could be a couple weeks, could be back next week, just depending on severity. And then those groin injuries kind of sometimes turn into those abdominal injuries, kind of like, we saw Mecole Hardman, they put him on IR right now. But if you're really hurting for running back, I think, Zeke's definitely an upgrade over Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
I like the fact that Zeke's playing in a dome. He is getting the goal line work and those valuable touches. I doubt the days of him going for 100 and a touchdown. Those probably aren't happening anymore. But could he be more like a Jamal Williams, and be in that 50, 60, yard range on, 8 to 10 catches with, 1 to 3 touchdowns? It could happen. So I like that upgrade. And I just think you lose with Palmer and Rondale Moore, man. We saw what Palmer, was able to do. One of these wide receivers, I doubt.
Terrace Marshall is Keenan Allen. Solid too.
I'm not touching Terrace Marshall. I don't mind that. I just think the key piece you messed up on right there was Josh Palmer. And I don't think the difference between having Josh Palmer, makes up for that difference between, Zeke and Hunt. So unfortunately, I think it was a little bit of a bad trade. I would have tried to keep Palmer, but I see what happened is if you traded him before this game, obviously, and by this game I meant the Josh Palmer game, I could see why you did, assuming Keenan Allen and Mike Williams were coming back. But I wouldn't trust these soft tissue injuries. So I would just kind of stick with Palmer, and he might even be useful even with both of them on the field at this point, just the way, he's been playing if they go 3 wide receiver sets. So unfortunately, I think I would have liked to have kept Palmer, but if you were in need of a running back upgrade, then I think it was worth it.
I like what he's talking about here, though. Never trust Tony, and knew he was made of glass since he was in New York.
There you go.
So there's some guys that he might be on my do not touch list going forward. Maybe you never know. I don't like breakable guys like that, and I think CMC started becoming that, but I think he's holding out this year. So hopefully he plays the rest of the season. He'll get that stigma out of the way where he had those 2 seasons where he just got injured and it was just terrible.
Yeah. And I think
we talked about that earlier.
Yeah, I think that was pretty much it. That was the one that I was helping. Let's see. I think there was one here from Dem Boys that I was laughing at. Where was it?
This one?
No.
Last week of the trade deadline. Well, I'm going to try to trade for Mark Andrews. Wish me luck. Nice.
Oh, good luck. Definitely do that if you can. For sure.
Do that. Yeah, that was a good
totally
time.
Agree. Yeah. Dim Boys was saying, no, I was okay. I just didn't want to miss it. Watch Melgo go to KC and ruin Pacheco's upside. That's such a Melvin Gordon thing to do.
Oh, don't say that. Don't even put that out there in the ether.
The Melvin Gordon leech. So there it is. What's up, Jonah? Archmage Eternal popping in here. Hopefully you're still here. We'll get to your question when we're in the middle of it. You know how the show works. So he's saying, so Najee, yeah, we talked about this kind of at the top of the show. I don't expect you to rewind 2 hours to go back and talk about it.
We would appreciate it, though.
We actually kind of gave Najee Harris. Yeah, we definitely would appreciate the view. But we kind of were talking about Najee. I mean, if you still have a trade deadline, I would trade him away. I would have been traded him. My comment at the top of the show was, if you were drafting with us during Friday Night Mocks, you would have known just not to draft Najee Harris in the first place, and you wouldn't even be in this situation. So right now, I think you're in a hold situation. You kind of maybe roll him out there more as a flex versus an RB2. If you can package him and get something, out of it, Najee and something else to get like Pollard, I doubt you're going to get that now. But like something like that, like try to trade up, if you can. I would honestly trade Zeke for Najee straight up right now, or other way around, trade Najee for Zeke. If I could, I would feel more comfortable with him. I wouldn't trade him for like Donta Foreman. I wouldn't trade him for like Brian Robinson. I'd still kind of just take my chances with Najee, especially with Jaylen Warren going down. So it might kill those, opportunities of him starting to steal some of those touches or possibly even taking over. So I personally would just hold. You invested in him. You couldn't trade him up to this point. So I think you're kind of stuck with them, in my opinion. But if you have an opportunity to move forward, you can. But in a given week, I don't think he's just a set it and forget it guy. I think you have to play some matchups and things like that. So if you can maybe trade him for Ken Walker, like I would do that. Ken Walker's kind of coming off a down game a little bit. He has a great schedule coming up. Was on a bye week, kind of out of sight, out of mind. Maybe you can, flip him for someone like that. That's what I would like to do. So welcome, Jonah. And unfortunately, we're getting ready to go. But you know how to get a hold of us. Get in that description. Check out our Najee or Swift. I mean, to me, that's just stick with who you have, I guess, unless you just want to change up for somebody else. But I think that's about, where I put those guys that were drafted in like round 1 or 2 that basically didn't turn out to be, and now you're kind of stuck with them. You don't feel like you're going to get proper value. Their potential is always going to be there. But honestly, I think I like Najee more than Swift, so I would actually keep Najee over Swift.
Seeing what Williams is doing over there, I would say the same thing.
Yeah,
I'm done. I have Swift as a keeper, and I'm done with him. I'm like, whatever. Don't start him until further notice.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much think that's where it's at. So, what else we got? Dan Boys was saying if McSorley starts again, he'd give AJ Green a shot if he was desperate. He hyper targeted him once he came in the game. Yeah, he did. And then he just threw it right to my guy. Who was it? That rookie, I think it was cornerback. Forgot his name off the top of my head right now, but picked it. Should have had a pick 6 earlier in that drive, but then got him in the end zone again and ended the game. So that's what you got to worry about.
Yeah, it was the rookie. I forgot his name. I know you're talking about. Yeah.
They were like, "Oh, he almost got one there," and then he ended up getting one. So that was good.
And he nails it down in the end zone.
Yeah. I thought that was like a safety, honestly, because he jumped from inbounds, landed in the end zone, and then like he didn't establish himself in the end zone and then go up and get the ball and come down.
Yeah.
He jumped from the one backwards into the end zone as he was catching the ball. Like, so I don't know how that works, but I'm glad they didn't call it a safety. So kept our streak of I think we've gone 2 straight games now without allowing a point in the second half.
Oh yeah?
Let's go. There we go.
On that note, we gotta go.
We're out of here. So yeah. So any QB trade targets on our way out? I mean, if you can buy low on Lamar Jackson, I would take a chance. I think with Mark Andrews getting healthy, I think a lot of people forgot that Lamar Jackson missed like the Thursday or Friday practice with an illness. I don't know about you, but Frank and I have been sick this whole week. If I had to go play an NFL game this last Sunday, I wouldn't have been doing it. So I'm just saying, like, it could have been the reason he had a down game. He didn't quite look himself. Andrew's still getting a little bit better. Himself getting more healthy. And they have a decent, schedule, I believe, coming up. So Lamar Jackson might be somebody I feel I could get that has, that QB1 top 5 weekly upside with his rushing floor. So, it's he would definitely be one. If you want to maybe go with someone like Brady or someone like that and, betting on the over, so to speak, just with the amount of passes he's throwing. That is good for fantasy. Again, with Godwin, Mike Evans, all of them getting healthy coming off their bye. Again, out of sight, out of mind. You might be able to get someone like him. I know Brady owners usually aren't too, worried right now, or are maybe possibly worried right now is what I meant. Who else you got? Any other QB trade targets that you think you can go after? I think the buy low window on Herbert is pretty much done after that Kansas City game. I mean, he looks good again. Yeah, who else? Who else are you thinking of? Anybody else?
Maybe go after Justin Fields. I mean, I guess it's scary, but the injury. But I mean, he was throwing up some good numbers. Man. He was throwing up some nice numbers. That's why I bring him up, is because that.
And maybe there's an opportunity to buy Josh Allen right now. If you tell the people like, oh yeah, snow game's coming up, he's probably not gonna, it's snowing. They're gonna be playing there. Could be this.
Samuel Womack.
Yeah, there you go, Womack. See, I gotta count on.
That boy's always got something back though. He's good. He's good.
That's what I'm saying. I can't wait till you get your show, brother.
You know this by now. I know who I'm talking about. I can't always recall the names though.
There you go. And Dim Boys is saying target Rodgers, so he might be a good one, especially with Watson. Saying he has Watson waking him up. Got Lazard, has Cobb back. So there's still an opportunity there. He was thinking Tua. Yeah, again, always shoot for anybody high. Tua, Mahomes, like those are givens, but usually those guys aren't moving off people. We're just kind of thinking people that might be ready for a change. Yeah, that you have a chance on. So
I don't see those guys moving, or you're going to be paying a premium in there for those guys, and they may not be good trade for you anyways.
Exactly. But I'm staying away from like Russell Wilson and Kirk Cousins and guys like Derek Carr. Like stay away from all that. So if you're going for someone, for sure go for someone like Tua. If you can try to get Herb, still try for him. Again, all depends on what you're giving up, as well too. So everybody has their price. So with that said, we'll get out of here on that one. Lastly, I just want to have you guys remember to check out trophysmack.com. When you do, we have the link actually in the description. You go check out the stuff they have. They got rings like this. They got trophies. They got chains. They got belts. So make sure you guys check them out. Again,
speaking of belts,
had to grab the belt. Get it.
You know what? He wants to hold that thing. He's not going to have it that much longer.
I'm going to have two of them. I'm going to have your belt that's hanging up in your room.
He's not going to have it
right here on my other shoulder. So I'm just trying to get it used to
that one.
I can't wait for those thumbnails.
We're going to swap spots.
Not happening. Not happening.
You'll see.
So anyway,
everybody always thinks that. I was like, "Oh, Frank's crazy." Whatever. It happens.
So there it is. You and I are the ones holding the belt, so that's what it is. But I'm trying to be the first one to have both. So we'll see, man. I have a chance. I have a chance.
Yes, you do.
So there it is, man. So again, we appreciate you guys, man, for sticking it out with us. Again, I appreciate you guys hitting that subscribe button. For us, we are, just a few subscribes away, man, from giving away this jersey. So help us get there. Tell your friends, share it on your social medias if you can. When you're in the holidays, you got your friends and family over. Grab their phones, hit that subscribe button for us, and who knows, maybe they'll win Gabe Davis jersey for you. So other than that,
on Wednesday again.
Yeah. So we'll be back Wednesday. Yep, we'll be back Wednesday. Hopefully there's a show before Thanksgiving games. Yep. So we'll definitely be back Wednesday. We'll do our start sits for the 3 Thanksgiving games. We'll have some fun here. We'll probably come up with something fun.
We'll start talking about stuff like this. This is the DJ Moore bust of the year. Like who?
Yeah, we're gonna start doing all that.
Disappointments when you drafted these guys, and who the biggest upside guys that just won your league because they were great value. Those are good guys to talk about as well. And
definitely year in review,
expectations for keepers for next year, so on and so forth. So yeah.
Absolutely. So we'll start getting into all that kind of stuff. Yeah, absolutely. So we'll have some fun with it, man. As everyone's there enjoying the holiday, have family coming in. So we wish you guys all the best, just in case you don't catch us on Wednesday. So again, we appreciate all the support from you guys, man. We'll be back here soon. So again, for myself, for Frank, for Dustin, and of course for Classic Mike. We appreciate you guys, man, and we'll see you guys on the flip side. Peace out.
Peace out, guys. Have a good night.